this in Jesus' name. Amen. St. Pius X, St. Thomas Aquinas, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Please remain standing for the national anthem from the St. Thomas Band under the direction of Donald Thede.
Tonight is the St. Pius Panthers 5-1 on the season to take on the St. Thomas Eagles, undefeated 5-0 in a Tops 3-5A matchup. It is the Legacy Sports Network Game of the Week. Granger Stadium. Hootsie Field is the site for a TAPS 3-5A matchup. Should be a fun game tonight between the St. Pius Panthers and the St. Thomas Eagles. Hello everyone, with Ken Moore, I'm Brett Dolan. Great to have you with us tonight for high school football. We hope to have a great game. We'll take acceptable weather this evening.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been raining in Houston throughout the evening. The rains have stopped so far here tonight, but about a 50% chance that they could come back this evening. Could play havoc with the St. Pius passing game, as they like to chuck the football around quite a bit.
That'll be the fun matchup tonight. Timmy Ware, the sophomore quarterback, what St. Pius and their offense can do against the St. Thomas defense.
Yeah, absolutely. The Panthers, they average over 400 yards per game, 200 on the ground, 200 through the air. They like to get it going both on the ground and through the air, so it's going to be a tough matchup for that St. Thomas defense tonight.
Stay tuned. Our kickoff comes up next on the Legacy Sports Network. Granger Stadium. Hootsie Field is the site for a TAPS 3-5A matchup. Should be a fun game tonight between the St. Pius Panthers and the St. Thomas Eagles. David Jones with an impressive return on the opening kickoff, not waiting for a break. He takes it all the way to the Panther 36-yard line. Great field position to begin things this evening.
Well, St. Thomas won the toss. They elected to receive. St. Pius defending the south end zone. As we mentioned, the weather conditions tonight, winds coming out of the east at about 6 miles per hour. 50% chance of rain, 68 degrees at kickoff.
Interesting formation to begin things. And a pitch play to William Heck. And he'll be ushered out of bounds inside the 25. You see a late flag fly.
Yeah, it looks like they came out with the old swinging gate to begin the action here this evening. Trying to catch that Panther defense off balance. But a flag on the play.
Referee is Doug Whitsitt. You see the personal foul indication against the Panthers.
Personal foul signaled against St. Pius.
So, Eagles starting off excellent kickoff return. Pick up a nice gain on first down. Tack on a 15-yard penalty. They're going to be in business inside the red zone.
St. Thomas team that last week racked up 676 yards of total offense. 418 came on the ground. After a long kickoff return, one play and a mark-off already inside the Panthers' red zone with a 1st and 10 at the 12. Heck lines up to the right of Michael Rule, the quarterback And it will be Heck. Purchase into the line and gets a couple of yards down to around the 10.
Yeah, Heck on the season, 97 carries, 693 yards, averaging over 7 yards per carry. He is their main horse on the ground, already has 9 touchdowns on the young season.
Gained a yard on that play, so Rule will keep. He gets tackled after a very short gain. See the defense string out that play. Jalen Smith, the man who has 3 picks this year, up to make the open field tackle after maybe another gain of a yard. It'll be 3rd and long.
Yeah, and this is a St. Thomas team that likes to dominate on the ground, almost a 3-to-1 ratio rushing compared to passing so far this season.
3 receivers to the right, 2 to the left. Empty backfield for Rule. Throws over the middle into the end zone. It's caught. Tremendous catch right there at the goal line. Chris Winter, the tight end, with his 2nd catch so far in the course of this contest, and right there at the goal line.
Yeah, Winter had a free release off the line of scrimmage, did not have a defender over him. He just ran straight to the goal line. Excellent throw by Rule on the money, and a quick 6 points for St. Thomas.
2nd touchdown for Winter, and there you'll see the swinging gate one more time, and Rule will roll to his right. Throw low into the end zone, and that ball is incomplete. In and out of the hands of Drew Gidros. Looked like he was going to go down around his shoe tops and make the catch. Unable to haul it in, but it's St. Thomas scoring first. A 6-0 lead, scoring on their opening drive here on the Legacy Sports Network.
Change is inevitable. Time waits for no one. And those who look only to the past are rarely ready for their future. Never underestimate our ability, because after all, we are Texans.
Gonzalez set to kick off for St.
Brett Dolan and Ken Moore here at Granger Stadium, Hotze Field, and Ken, it did not take the Eagles long to draw first points here this evening.
Yeah, a minute, 11 seconds, 37-yard drive after the great kickoff return, 12-yard touchdown pass, Rule to Winter. They missed the 2-point conversion. St. Thomas on top, 6-zip, 10:49 to go here, first period.
Here's the kick, taken at about the 25-yard line. Be a few positive yards. Looks like a return by Jones across the 38 to about the 40-yard line, and that's where St. Pius X will begin.
Yeah, and you look at their quarterback, Timmy Ware, the sophomore, on the season, over 1,200 yards, 11 touchdowns. His main man on the outside, Brian Newman, 37 receptions, 644 yards, and Micah Massey in the backfield, over 800 yards on the young season, 6 times into the end zone.
Yeah, Newman's had a big year. We'll see what Timmy Ware does here in this opening drive. The left-handed sophomore quarterback will give to Micah Massey in the first carry, and competing for yards across the 45 and dropped at about the 47.
Initial contact is Zubel and Lawrence.
Zach Zubel there to make the stop, and you see this St. Pius Panthers starting lineup.
Yeah, brought to you by First Community Credit Union. Avery Sims at quarterback. You see Hancock, one of the tailbacks. The wideouts, Owen Evans, Cameron Austin. The center, Chase Fontana, leads that offensive front.
Officials conferring after a penalty after that opening play. See if we get an indication. The long conference has the fans waiting for an explanation. Procedure, legal formation against the Panthers. That'll negate the carry from Massey. And back up the St. Pius X offense. And Ken, we talked in our open about the conditions. About an hour ago, it started to rain. Looked like it might clear up for the time being, but as you can see, it's back.
Yeah, the precipitation is back, and as we mentioned, it could play havoc with this Panther offense. They like to run it as well as throw it. Now, as long as the wind conditions don't pick up, they may be okay. It'll be interesting to see if the quarterback has any problems throwing the football in these wet conditions.
Timmy Ware demonstratively changing the play. Again, 2 receivers, 2 each side. And Ware will keep. Able to work forward for a couple of yards, get a few back after the penalty, but not much running room against this Eagles defense.
Yeah, and Ware, he's tremendous on the ground as well. He averages over 6 yards per carry. Here you see him fake the inside zone read, decided to pull it, keep it himself. Good open field tackle as he crossed the 43-yard line, coming up to make that stop, Travis Williamson.
Yeah, the linebacker Williamson made the stop, so it's 2nd and 12. Now Ware back, looking for time to throw, but it's not there. Williamson went to the defenders nearest. That football kicked loose. Looked like Lorenzo Neal was the man credited for the tackle. The ball came loose, but Ware was down right there at the 40.
Yeah, Neal, the sophomore linebacker, comes up to make the stop. You see Ware in the pocket. Pressure breaks down, and the big linebacker gets him from behind Neal. It's going to be 3rd down and 9. Ball rests right at the 40-yard line strike.
Good look at Coach Blake Ware. His team off to a 5-1 start last week, a 51-49 win over Tomball Concordia. We'll talk more about that game when we have time. 3rd and 9. Pass play intended for Massey. Massey was open, may have been able to get near midfield in a 1st down, but that ball overshot its target.
Yeah, Ware just a little high on the throw, and again, you wonder if the wet conditions have something to do with that ball sailing over his head as we look at that Eagle defense that forced the punt. Hanson, Craig, Neal up front. Lawrence, Williamson, Zubel in the secondary. Those guys are going to be huge tonight. Jones, Zook, Davis, Selexman.
Sam Vituli on to punt. He has a tremendous leg. We'll get a chance to discuss some of his exploits a little bit later on. Vituli will punt from his own 30. And it's a high kick, but a short kick. Not returnable. It'll take a St. Thomas bounce right there at the 41.
Yeah, Nick Minkoff just kind of watching that ball bounce back the other way. You want to stop it. As we take a look at the Eagle offense brought to you by First Community Credit Union. Michael Rule, the quarterback, had a good season so far, but the main man in the backfield, William Heck, we saw him earlier. Saw Chris Winter, the tight end, on the touchdown. The big guys up front, Clarkston, Rose, Lane, Agu, and Vatterott.
So Chris Winter, the touchdown, capping that opening drive. Great field position for the St. Thomas Eagles. They begin from their 41. Here the second sequence. St. Thomas had 45 points last week in that win against Beaumont Kelly Catholic. Big gainer again. William Heck is loose. One man to beat. Down the sidelines and tripped up inside the 10-yard line. It looked like Heck might take it the distance. It was Chase Fontana saving the touchdown, but another big play for this Eagles offense. 47 yards.
Yeah, Chase Fontana saving the touchdown, but look at that big hole on the right side of the offensive line, and the safety, Fontana, catches him by a shoestring inside the 15. It's going to be 1st down and 10 for St. Thomas.
Heck came in averaging more than 7 yards a carry. A couple of big runs today. Rule will keep trying to pick a hole, and he'll dive inside the 10 and get a few positive yards. Michael Rule rushed for over a couple of 100 yards this year, and he'll make it 2nd and about 5 or 6.
A 4-yard pickup, 2nd and 6 for the Eagles.
So the Eagles have had some different formations trying to spread the field. Heck will carry again. Heck stuck up at the 5 and dropped. Jalen Smith, a strong open field tackle for the Panthers defense. It'll be 3rd down.
Yeah, good wrap up that time by Smith, preventing the touchdown. It'll force a 3rd down situation as we look at our keys to the game. Sponsored to you by Granola Retro Graphics. Beware of Ware on the other side of the football. They have to control Ware. The cornerbacks and the safeties are going to be very crucial defensively for St. Thomas.
3rd and 4 run. It's Wendell Champion, his first carry today. Brings the football inside the 5, and there's Wendell Champion. He gained a couple of yards on that play, but it'll be 4th down.
for the Panthers.
So our keys brought to you by Garola Repro Graphics. We'll get back to them when we have time. Meanwhile, the Eagles going for it on 4th and short. Heck will carry. And Heck has dropped it around the 3, and we'll see if that's enough for the first down.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a little bit short as the St. Pius Panther defense, they rise up inside the red zone. Again, just a zone read inside to Heck. And he's gobbled up as he crosses the 5-yard line. Good gang tackle that time by the Panther defense. And St. Thomas will turn it over on downs after that big run early on in the drive by Heck.
So Coach Ware will talk with his offense before they come on the field. Not good field position at all, but they stop the Eagles from getting their second touchdown in as many drives to begin things tonight here from Granger Stadium and Hootsie Field. Our Legacy Sports Network game of the week, and you see Ware standing in his own end zone. Sophomore quarterback, son of the coach, coming off just a huge week. And Micah Massey will carry, and Massey drugged down by Williamson, but not before he takes it out near the 15 and should have the first down for this Panthers offense.
Yeah, we'll dial up those keys to the games for St. Pius here in just a moment, but a good first down carry as he picks up some positive yards, makes it 2nd down and 4. They have to have a balanced attack. That's what they're known for. They average over 200 yards per ground on the game, on the ground, and through the air. 8 in the box defensively to stop that St. Thomas running attack, and they will have to minimize the mistakes here tonight. Ware has 5 interceptions on the season. He doesn't want to have number 6.
Keys brought to you by Garola Repro Graphics. A job done right the first time, and Panthers will keep it on the ground for short yardage again, courtesy of Massey, who came in with just under 800 yards on the season. And this is his type of situation with maybe some light rain falling and the Panthers deep in their own territory where they can't go to the air as often as they would probably like.
Yeah, and this is real football weather. This is the weather you particularly like if you're a tailback because you have the advantage. If you can get into the open field, put some one-on-one moves against the secondary, you can get those linebackers and safety slipping and sliding and have you an opportunity to make some big gains.
2nd and 6 for the Panthers offense. That's a keeper for Ware. He faked the jet sweep to Massey and just had no running room. You see a handful of red shirts, including Kurt Hansen. First man there, big number 70 on the stop. It'll be 3rd and long.
Yeah, Hansen just got into the backfield, swallowed him up. They faked the jet sweep. Ware decided to keep it himself. Kurt Hansen says, "Welcome to my party."
So Ware on the season's completed almost 60% of his passes, maybe a passing situation here. 3 receivers to his right.
Uh-oh.
And the left-handed quarterback throws across his body. He'll complete the pass, and he'll have the first down. And who else on the receiving end but Brian Newman? That is his 38th catch this season. It'll move the sticks for the Panthers.
Yeah, it looks like a little mix-up in the backfield on the play fake, but nevertheless, Ware recoups in a hurry. Excellent strike on the money to his receiver, picks up the first down.
Yeah, Brian Newman, last year he caught 7 touchdowns. Already this season has 9, and that just moves the St. Pius, the 10th offense, deep out of their own territory and moves the sticks.
Yeah, and he's a big play receiver, averaging 17 yards per reception.
Good look at Timmy Ware. Now he is the Built for Tough Texas High School Football Player of the Week. He was able to engineer some 4th quarter scoring drives last week in the 51-49 win against Tomball Concordia. Ken, all he did was throw for 360 and 5 touchdowns, ran for more than 100 yards and a touchdown, and took his team 75 yards in the final 40 seconds to lead to the winning field goal.
Who does he think he is, Johnny Manziel?
Well, to that point, the 3rd time this year, he's pulled out a game in the last minute. So they've made that at our form this year, and you really have to be impressed when that's a sophomore executing those drives.
Yeah, his pops has taught him well.
Massey tried to bounce outside, and he slipped. He was going to be contained on the corner. Looked like that was Zach Zubel up there ready to make the tackle, but no gain for Massey as the footing caused him to slip and fall right here on the turf at Hootsie Field.
Yeah, you talk about the wet condition, but the turf is actually in excellent condition. It drains very well here, but it's still moist out there on the ground with the rain coming down, and Massey just lost his footing. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
So Ware will operate with 4 wide receivers, 2 each side, and a 2nd 10 facing the Panthers offense. Ware back with time. There's Newman again. Diving catch across the 40 at the marker, maybe just shy by half a yard.
Yeah, and that St. Thomas defense playing a zone there in dime coverage, and they're just dropping back into a zone. And Newman this time again just finds the soft spot right in between the corner and the safety. Picks up a first down.
Good enough to move the sticks, so down 6-0. Panthers sideline is something to cheer about, and now their offense trying to get up near midfield. Another 4 wide receiver formation, but Massey with a head of steam sprinting off the line into Eagles territory. He's down shy of a first down, maybe a gain of 8 of the play to the 49 of St. Thomas.
Yeah, and that gain could have been much bigger. Massey let one man bring him down in the secondary. Have to make that man miss. Prevents the first down. It'll be 2nd and short.
Massey last week ran for $141 on 18 carries. He's been involved early in the game. Will he carry again? Yes, he will. Tries to bounce outside. He does for an extra yard, but not much there. So it'll be 3rd and maybe about half a yard left to move the sticks one more time.
Yeah, Jordan Lawrence coming up to make the stop that time on Massey. Now we have an official stoppage of the clock. They may want to measure.
Great shot right there near midfield, how close that football is to the sticks.
Are they going to do the old eye test?
I think they're trying to line it up like a 15-foot putt for a par.
Just bring
Why
the
not
sticks
measure,
out, guys.
right, at this
Just bring
point?
them on out. Here we go.
You'll be the first to know, let's put it that way, on the measurement. And I said it was short by about half a yard. How about by the length of a football?
Well, there you go. So now short yardage situation for the Panthers, trailing 6-zip. 3:28 to go here, first period. Both ball clubs coming to this game tonight undefeated in district play, 2-0.
Always a great rivalry. We were here last year for the matchup won by St. Thomas. That was when Cole Stewart got dinged very early in the game with the shoulder. Wasn't able to play the second half, and the Panthers offense suffered accordingly.
And both ball clubs split their pair of games last season. They play twice a year in TAPS, District 3 5A. It's a 4-team district, so each team will play the other twice. They split last season. And it's going to be a timeout taken here.
Timeout of the field. 6-0 St. Thomas with the lead. Back after this.
If I get pneumonia,
Break my arm.
need to know if my pain is something more.
I know I can trust Neighbors Emergency Center to save me.
They save my time.
They'll save me from missing the championship.
They'll save me from missing my meeting.
They'll save me from missing the chance to walk her down the aisle someday.
They save me. He saves me.
You saved me.
Neighbors Emergency Center saves lives.
Neighbors Emergency Center. Care that counts. Experience that matters.
The sights of high school football on a Friday night, albeit a rainy one, here in the greater Houston area. 6-0 St. Thomas would lead. They scored on their first drive, just a 3-play drive. Went for 2 and were unsuccessful. And they almost scored a second touchdown, Ken. They got down to the 4, but the Panthers defense able to hold. Now their offense trying to convert 3rd and short. And Ware's not going to get it. Ware bumped into Massey, dropped shy of the first down. And Zach Zubel, we've called his name, I think, 3 times already in the backfield quickly, and we'll see it again.
Yeah, he just completely disrupted this entire play. Actually, there was about 3 of the St. Thomas defenders in the backfield. Nowhere to go for Ware or Massey on that play. It's going to be 4th down at midfield.
Give the Eagles defense credit. They were tackling anybody near the football. If it was Massey, if it was Ware, it didn't matter.
Just tackle them all, throw them out one by one. Baby with the bathwater.
So from 3rd and maybe half a yard or less to 4th and 3 for the Panthers. Ware will sprint forward. He'll have the first down and more. And Ware tackled inside the 38-yard line. Nothing fancy, raced forward, picked up nice yardage, and moves the 6th for St. Pius X.
Yeah, 13 yards on the quarterback keeper. As you mentioned, nothing fancy about this. You got the right guard pulling up top, 58 with a good block. And then Ware does the rest. Gets inside the 40, 1st and 10. Panthers keep rolling on this drive.
So Blake Ware sending a good play on that sequence. Here it's 1st and 10 with the Panthers offense on the move. See Ware barking out the play as he goes across the line and waits for the football. And Massey will plow off the left side of the line for a couple of yards. A lot of red shirts involved on that play. It looked like Kurt Hansen again was there, along with Keaton Craig.
Massey, a straight ahead runner. He likes to go north and south. You won't see a lot of dancing from this kid. He's a downhill runner, and he does it very well.
Strive feels like it has taken several minutes for the Panthers.
Oh, boy.
And a keeper for Ware. Very good job of the play fake. Massey probably thinks that because he got leveled. But Peyton Pardee made the stop.
Yeah, you're looking at our team comparison here up top. As you look at the points allowed, St. Thomas only allowing 83 points so far this season compared to St. Pius, the 10th, giving up 165 yards on the year.
7-yard pickup for Tim Ware in that previous play, so it's a 1st and 10 for the St. Pius, the 10th offense on the move. Inside, 2 minutes to go here in our first quarter. Ware back, the pocket begins to crumble, and he will go down. Late flag came flying in.
Yeah,
like Travis Williamson was there, Zubel, handful of red jerseys around the quarterback, but you'll see the marker going against the defense.
Well, that's a huge penalty against St. Thomas as they had Ware dead to rights. Play fake didn't fool anyone, and it was a meeting in the backfield. Oh, yeah, late hit right there. He tried to pull up just a little bit at the end, but the big fella couldn't stop that motor from going, and he's going to pick up 15 yards.
Lorenzo Neal cannot hold back, so that'll be a big penalty negating that sack. And continuing this march for the Panthers offense.
Drive that started back at their own 4 after the turnover on downs. So excellent drive, aided here by the big penalty. They got the big 4th down conversion moments ago from Ware on the quarterback keeper. Now inside the red zone, 1st and 10, as they try to tie it up and possibly take the lead.
See Timmy Ware stare towards the sidelines to get an indication or a play. Ware still barking at instructions. The play clock now inside 3. Needs to get the play off. And he does with 1 to go. And Ware runs into a couple of red jerseys. First man there was Mason Lane. Couple of yards on the play for Timmy Ware. But this has been a 1 step forward, 2 steps back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back type of drive for the Panthers offense.
Yeah, not a lot of flow, but they'll take the results so far as they're eating up clock as we go inside of 30 seconds here in the first period.
2nd and 8 play. Massey with a sprint off the line, but dropped after what looked to be a big hole right out of the gates. There in the stop for the defense was J.D. Jezik. It'll be 3rd down, and that could be the final play here in our first quarter as we see it again. I love the acceleration, Ken.
Yeah, look at him, quick hitter. Breaks through that first arm tackle, brought down by the 2nd defender, but not after he picks up some positive yardage. It'll be 3rd and about 5 when we return here. Friday night football here on the Legacy Sports Network.
I think I have the window seat.
You better double check that, my friend. Don't think we don't know who you are.
Yeah, I'm Aaron Rodgers.
No, that's not it. You're that State Farm discount double check guy.
Discount double check. Thanks to the hundreds you saved us, we could upgrade the grill class.
Grill class?
Your tongs are in your seat back.
Save with the discount double check today. Get to a better state. State Farm.
Eagles defense, Ken, happy for the quarter break. They're ready to face what will be the 15th play of this drive for the St. Pius Panthers, a drive that began at their own 4-yard line.
Yeah, 7 minutes and 26 seconds ago is when they took over the drive in the first period. Now they bridged it into the second quarter, and we'll see if they can punch it in.
So the Panthers ready to face a 3rd and 3 as we get going here in the second quarter. The lone touchdown came on a touchdown pass to Chris Winter, the tight end from Michael Rule. Came very early in the game, probably before the Panthers were even settled in, and their defense just about gave up that second touchdown, but that defensive stand stopping St. Thomas at the 4-yard line looking bigger now that the offense has turned around and put together this impressive drive.
Yeah, it's definitely been a momentum switch. They've been able to take the home crowd out of the football game for that final 7 minutes of the first period. Now they want to see if they can cash in their chips here to begin the second quarter. And again, another funky formation, trips all the way up top.
4 receivers, in fact, to the left side of the screen. The pass play, I believe that is Massey, had a convoy of blockers in front of him. He did, but give the Eagles defense credit. They contained that play to a relatively short gain. Looked like Williamson involved one more time.
Yeah, Massey was the inside slot guy. You had 3 receivers all the way up top. The design is to try to get Massey outside of those trips receivers, have him have a bridge, a wall, if you will, between himself and the sideline. Unfortunately for him, he had to turn it up inside. Defense able to make a play. Now you're looking at a big 4th down opportunity here for St. Thomas to come up with a defensive stop.
See one of the linemen coming off. It's Samuel Pierce, committed to Rice. An outstanding lineman, something wrong with his brace. I thought Coach Ware might go ahead and call a timeout, considering the importance of having that man on the field for a 4th and 2.
Well, he may still do so. The refs just wound the play clock. And he's having a conversation with Ware, so I think they probably will take a timeout here once the play clock rolls down.
Play clock right now at 5. We'll see the timeout called. Indeed, that is the case with 11:13 to play here before the half, and that early touchdown, that 6-0 lead from St. Thomas holding for now.
So a little wardrobe malfunction, if you will. Stops play, 11:04 mark to go here.
Our game brought to you in part today, and in fact our timeouts, by Raising Cane's. One Love. Might have to go for some chicken fingers after the game. Game also brought to you by Allegiance Bank of Texas. It's not what we do, but what we do together that makes a difference. By Garola Repro Graphics, a job done right the first time. And by First Community Credit Union. Think first. Lodge Lumber Company, providing quality forestry products that are readily available. By McDonald's, I'm loving it. Don't forget the Texas Invitational coming up next month in Pasadena and the surrounding area. One of the best basketball tournaments in the country. And by Community Bank of Texas, bank where you live. Metter Staffing Services, our talent is finding yours. By Neighbors Emergency Center. Care that counts, experience that matters. And you can buy McDonald's, I'm loving it. Here we go, 4th down, 4th and 2 after the timeout. Ware back, throwing into the end zone. It's Newman. That's a touchdown. We're tied at 6. The 10th touchdown this year for Brian Newman. Talk about one of the better wide receivers in the area, Ken. It's that man, number 17.
Well, you look at Ware under pressure, staying in, took the hit in the pocket, delivered a throw on the money to Newman, and Newman the holder, as they will go for the lead in the extra point attempt. But a big 4th down conversion by the St. Pius Panthers.
Sam Fatuli, the strong arm kicker, will wait for his line to shift. 10:59 to play here in our second quarter. A chance for the Panthers to take the lead. From the holder, Brian Newman, who just caught the touchdown. The sure-handed man will put it down, and that kick is blocked. It's blocked and picked up by St. Thomas. Chance to run this back for 2, and that'll not be the case, but now both teams have failed on their PAT tries.
And there is a flag down, so we'll check the penalty marker. It may have been on the return, but let's make sure.
Looks like Mark Davis picked up that block. Here's our referee, Doug Whitsitt.
Mark Davis with the
block in the back, of course, is declined, and we have a tie game with 10:59 to play. And let's see this block again. Looked like just a low kick.
All right, and he got some good penetration right up the middle. Yeah, big 74 came flying through. That was Campbell Clarkson, the junior, with the block. So we'll go to the break. We have a 6-6 tie here tonight on the Legacy Sports Network.
Nothing brings the community together like high school sports. And for the Allegiance Bank team, our partnership with the community is a big deal.
From blood drives to food drives to even the longest of rides, Allegiance Bankers are committed to making a difference and impacting the local community, providing volunteer hours and rolling up our sleeves as an active and responsible community partner.
At Allegiance Bank, we are your neighbor and your community bank. That's our game plan.
Well, Ken, an 8.5-minute drive cashed in for a touchdown for the Panthers, but they failed to take the lead on the PAT.
Yeah, both teams struggling in the special teams so far. Result, a 6-6 tie.
Tremendous open field tackle will send David Jones tumbling to the ground shy of the 25-yard line.
Yeah, Bradford Hunter with that big special teams hit. Now St. Thomas have to be in on the bench for probably the last half hour, and their offense will get back on the field. Look at that open field tackle. Great shot that time by Hunter. Now the St. Thomas offense on the field for only the third time tonight. First drive was quick, minute and 11 seconds, 37-yard drive, 12-yard touchdown pass ruled to winner. Second drive stalled inside the 10-yard line. This will be their third possession beginning at
Rule goes up top to complete a pass and pick up a first down. Pass looked like it was a little bit high, but Gentempo went up and grabbed it. That's his 5th catch of the year. It'll move the sticks.
Watch this throw from Rule. Put a little mustard on that one, didn't he?
12-yard pickup.
High, hard one.
DJ Johnson made the tackle, but a first down. Now running play for Heck. He's able to bounce outside. Heck showing off some speed. And a nice cutback will take him to the 41 of the Panthers. Heck has this ability to accelerate while changing directions and trying to find the best available hole.
Yeah, look at that hit in the backfield on the quarterback. I'm shocked that they didn't call a personal foul on 42 that time. 21 yards on the carry. First down.
So the Eagles on the march again into Panther territory.
Avery Sims got away with a big hit on the quarterback.
Rule with time to throw here. We might see a flag. You saw the ball dislodged.
And that was Jalen Smith coming up from his secondary spot. I think he got there in time. We'll take a look at it once again here.
That's Chris Winter, the intended target, the man who caught the touchdown earlier, and it looked like that hit came a little bit early.
Yeah, maybe just a tad early.
Well, Jalen Smith's a big play corner, 3 picks this year. That time, though, no flag, so it's 2nd and 10. 4 wide receivers in the formation for Wool, but he'll give to Heck, jumps out of a tackle, and continues inside the 40 to about 37.
Yeah, you were talking about Jalen Smith on that previous play. This is a St. Pius defense with 7 interceptions on the season. So St. Thomas will have to be careful throwing the football around. This is a team that, of course, as we mentioned, they like to keep it on the ground.
St. Pius, the 10th defense, began this year with 9 returning starters from last year, but they have been demoralized at times with injuries. I know most teams are at this point in the year. They've lost a lot of guys. Little lob pass for Heck was just out of his reach.
So now we're going to have another 4th down situation, another decision time. Again, just a little pass, just gets away from the quarterback.
Chase Fontana was trying to load up and come at Heck, but he never caught the football, so it's 4th down. We'll have another timeout. Looks like St. Thomas will talk things over with 9:48 to play in the half in this 6-6 ball game. Here from Granger Stadium. Cooler night, light rain falling at times in the greater Houston area. One of these teams will have win number 6 when this game is over. We're tied at 6 tonight, and we've seen the offenses really kind of have their way, but maybe stall a bit once they get down towards that red zone.
Yeah, kind of a bend but don't break situation, you know, for the defensive here tonight. Both teams able to eat up clock with some nice long drives. And again, here come the rains once again as the skies open up here in the Houston area, and the umbrellas pop out and windows go down in the press box.
You haven't had the feeling yet that it's impacting the play as far as a slippery football or passes that are jumping out of the quarterback's hands?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. We'll see what happens here.
4th and 4, St. Thomas will go for 3 receivers to the right. Heck on the jet sweep will get the fake. It'll be Rule plowing into the line. He's not going to get there. He's going to finish shy of the marker, and you see the reaction from the defense, and a flag will fly. Austin Hancock was one of the first there. We'll see what the marker is all about.
Yes, it's going to be a post-possession foul. Now, it depends if it's going to be offsetting or going one way or the other. You see the 2 guards pulling on the play, but just nowhere to go for Rule.
Clay Owen was also involved in that stop. We've seen it a couple of times.
Yeah, just a little misdirection. And didn't fool anyone on the Panther side of the football. And now the discussion is, who's this personal foul going to be against?
See the reaction?
And it's going to go against the Panthers. Wow. Or is it going to be offsetting? I think it's going to be offsetting.
Offsetting. Coach Fitzpatrick with the rain slicker on. He wants an explanation. I think he probably thought that penalty was going against the Panthers. Coach Fitz not happy with the explanation he's receiving.
No, he's not, but I don't think he's going to change any minds.
I don't either. Rarely works that way.
So nevertheless, it's going to be a turnover on downs for the Eagles. And
it's a couple of 4th down stops for the Panthers.
This will be the 3rd possession of the night for the Panthers. They'll take over at their own 37. 9:41 to go here, 2nd period.
Timmy Ware has 3 receivers to the right side of the football field. He will keep and get thrown down backwards. Nowhere to go whatsoever. It is Peyton Pardee who made the stop. The son of Ted, the grandson of the late Jack Pardee, makes the big tackle for a loss.
Yeah, that was a huge play. Big loss on 1st down. So now the Panthers in a 2nd and very long situation.
We talked about injuries, and let's face it, every team's dinged up. Joe Lowry, the man last year, had 20 tackles for loss and 12 sacks. He's not playing today for the Eagles defense. Rawlings Elam, another player, maybe not available. A corner has a shoulder problem. Doug Sauter. So a lot of guys dealing with some dings. There's Newman again, and he slips almost immediately. David Jones, nearest man there for the Eagles defense.
Yeah, Newman able to get the yardage lost on the sack back, plus a couple extra. And he's been the main target tonight so far for Ware, as he has been throughout the season, just finding a soft spot in that Eagle defense.
So a 3rd and 4 here. We've had a lot of 3rd and 4s, 4th and 3s, that type of situation, but a longer play needed for the Panthers. In fact, a 3rd and 7, I believe, is now the final mark off.
And you see Massey at the top of the screen. Watch him one-on-one on the far outside. And now it's going to be a timeout taken.
Spend them if you have them, I guess, the philosophy on the timeouts here in our first half as the rain continues to come down at Granger Stadium.
St. Pius.
So St. Pius.
So each team with 1 timeout remaining here in the first half. Pretty swift moving first quarter.
Indeed.
Slowed down considerably here in the 2nd.
Merlot's Limousines and Charters. Mr.
You mentioned it earlier, Ken, though. These teams will play each other twice. It has that NFL divisional feel where you're going to see an opponent home and away. 2 times. There's not many secrets when these two teams get together.
Yeah, 2 times in 3 weeks, actually.
That's right.
Yeah, they'll see each other in a couple of more weeks back on, again, on November 8th to end the season. Last week, St. Thomas with a huge win over Beaumont Kelly, 45-3. Prior to that, they had a squeaker against Tombaugh Concordia Lutheran, 17-16.
Here we go. 3rd and 7 after the timeout for Timmy Ware and the Panthers. Pistol formation with Massey lined up behind the sophomore quarterback. Where to throw? A little bit high, but he's able to hit his target. That's Nick Minkoff, his 5th catch of the year, and it's good for a first down for the St. Pius X offense.
That was a great catch by Minkoff, going up high. Pass by Ware, very high. Took a hit, held on to the football.
There is Rawlings Elam, a couple of picks this year, but he came up to make the play, and Minkoff made the catch.
48-yard line.
Seen some receivers make some plays this evening. So just shy of midfield. Remember that last drive for the Panthers was a 16-play sequence that ate up nearly 8 minutes of clock. Massey trying to pick a hole, but he's dropped. He'll get into St. Thomas territory.
Massey coming into this ball game with 118 carries, nearly 800 yards on the season.
Pardee made that tackle after what'll be a gain of 3, so it's 2nd and 7. Nearing the 7-minute mark, 7.5 to play here in our first half.
Massey just a junior.
Ware accepts the football. He'll throw it to that formation, finds Newman on a quick slant inside the 40, another first down for the Panthers.
The Eagle defense, they're content with that. They'll give up those short yardage plays. They don't want to get beat over the top. Newman again, just on a quick slant. 3-step drop. Ware hits him in stride.
And Timmy Ware, not a big guy, but operating from that spread formation, he's able to get a little better angle maybe on throwing those balls right over the top of the line towards Newman on those quick pass patterns.
Get some good blocking lanes as well set up by his offensive lineman.
Massey will carry. And he's drilled by Travis Williamson and company.
Travis Williamson.
If you're the defensive lineman, what you want to do, you want to get those big paws up in the face of that young quarterback. Even if you can't get there on the rush, you want to get those hands up, try to disrupt his view.
Do those quick passes play against that possibility? Are you engage the offensive lineman, and by that time the ball's already by you or over the top?
No, you have to use that J.J. Watt philosophy. If you can't get there, you just stand there, you look at the quarterback in the eye, you see where he's throwing the football, just get your hands up and bat it down. Don't try to get to the quarterback on every play.
Gain of 2 brings up 2nd and 8. Right now you start to think this Eagles defense has been on the field a long time here in the first half. Massey will get a couple of more yards, but really nothing big there available.
Their last touchdown drive took 8:27 off the clock.
See Kurt Hansen at the bottom of the pile. In fact, also handing the football back to the official was Zach Zubel, but it's a gain of 3 on the play. 3rd down again for the Panthers. Third, and we'll call it 5 to go. Newman, you see number 17 at the top of the screen near Coach Ware. He's the man who's been the target, the favorite target on some of these big passing plays. 3 receivers, though, to the right. Massey runs into the line, and he will finish shy. Williamson there, also Kurt Hansen, a trio of players. Zach Zubel, it seems like those 3 names have been the ones we've been calling a lot for the Eagles defense, and they rise up to force a 4th down.
Yeah, Hansen has been a beast. See the left side defensive tackle. He's the 3rd one there that time. You're not going to get past that big fella. So now another 4th down situation. They'll keep the offense on the field.
Yes, they will. 4th and 5.
Kind of in no man's land at the 33.
I would agree with you, but neither one of these teams show the willingness to really punt anyhow. So it just happens to be a no man's land where you don't want to punt or try a field goal. Ware beginning to scramble. And he completes a pass again to Jeremy Jones inside the 20. And the Panthers with another big play on 4th down.
Now, I'm not sure if that was on purpose or by accident. Watch Ware in the pocket. Gets some happy feet there. Now look, looks like he overthrows one receiver, but right into the hands of Jones. Johnny on the spot picks up the 1st down.
Kirk Selectsman on the stop, so you'll see it again here. Ware, the left-handed quarterback, throwing across his body, completing the pass. Now back to action. Ware will carry, spun around at about the 17. Jordan Lawrence, one of the linebackers there on the stop.
And if you're St. Thomas, you're the defense, you're probably starting to get a little tired. Defense has not been able to get off the field on the last 2 drives by the St. Pius Panthers. And even though it's a nice, cool evening with some rain coming down, you'll still feel the effects if you're on the field for an extended period of time, especially these big guys up front.
Keep in mind, 3 plays into the game, St. Thomas had a touchdown. They've not scored since. St. Pius, the 10th, scored to tie the game. They had their extra point blocked. And a quick snap to Ware. The football's loose. With a whistle. Was that play blown dead? Zubel jumped on the ball once it hit Ware in the mask. Maybe another timeout was called. Coach Fitzpatrick not at all happy. He's been on the field as much as his offense has, which is not a lot, but enough here in the 1st half.
Yeah, timeout was called just before the snap. Luckily for the Panthers, and it hit Ware right square in the face mask.
Ware happy to be wearing a helmet. Otherwise, that would have hit him in the teeth.
Beware. So 3:25 to go. 1st half, 6-6 tie. As we mentioned, both of these ball clubs undefeated so far in district play.
You look at St. Pius there, huddle up, Ken, and last year they finished 9-3. They lost to the eventual state champion, Fort Worth Nolan, in the 3rd round of the playoffs. Of course, that brought to the end the Cole Stewart era. He had the scholarship to Texas A&M, but decided to go the baseball route. And I would think $4 or $5 million might discourage you from playing football to play baseball.
You can always go back to football if it doesn't work out.
We've seen that happen before, but I've been really impressed with Timothy Ware and his execution on a lot of those 3rd down plays or 4th down plays to keep his offense on the field and keep this Eagles defense out there as well.
Yeah, just the poise that he's shown in the pocket, being able in the command in the huddle, keeping his guys patient, keeping them lined up. And the execution on 4th down has been tremendous so far for this young quarterback and his offensive team.
Well, we've seen some unique formations as well. 3 receivers to the left, but the screen pass set up for Massey, and then he's planted. And hit hard by Joseph Lowry, the senior. Massey able to get a few more yards forward, but still, the Panthers will find themselves in a very familiar situation, 3rd and about 5 or 6.
Well, not a lot of explosive plays out here tonight. I mean, both teams just kind of grinding it out, picking up 3-4 yards a pop. And if you can pick up 3-4 yards a pop, 4 plays times 4, that's 12 yards. That's going to be a 1st down.
Keep in mind they have a very good kicker, so you don't have to get too daring here. There's still a chance to take the lead if they're unable to convert this 3rd and 6. Fake handoff to Massey. Boy. And there's Peyton Pardee flying in. He'll get credit for the sack.
Peyton Pardee and Jordan Lawrence.
That number 32 is familiar. Well, there's a good reason, and we'll explain more coming up at the half when his dad pops up to the booth and joins us.
Coming for St. Pius.
But he forces a 4th down, and this will be a 4th and about 11. So now we'll see if the Panthers want to go for the field goal.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to bring the special teams unit out as they'll try to get some points before halftime.
Batuli is the kicker, and we'll talk more about him after you see a quick replay, but this play was going nowhere. This Ware went down.
Yeah, you see the left tackle. He took the outside guy. You always want to block inside out. He went outside in. That opened up the lane for Pardee to come in.
Now this will be a 39-yard field goal. No, it won't. Looks like the play clock expired. Now, earlier this year, Sam Vituli hit a 43-yard field goal with 20 seconds left to break a tie with Lamarck and win the game. It was a bomb. And it came after a 5-yard penalty that forced him back an extra 5 yards. They went for the field goal at 43, and he drilled one. But there you see another possibility of an issue that has stopped the clock with a penalty, marking things back 5 yards. So now, Coach Moore, what do you do with the football back at the 25 or 26-yard line?
If you feel like he has the leg to do it here in the rain, give him a shot.
Might like that possibility better than a 4th and 16. We'll see what Coach Ware has dialed up. It looks like he's keeping the offense on the field. And they're going to try and pick this up rather than kick.
I kind of like their idea. I'd probably go for the 3. Take a shot at a 43-yard field goal, which is where it would be from here.
Ware looking for time to throw, and he's not going to have it. Look at the red shirts. A flag comes flying in as Travis Williamson, the last man to emerge on top of Timmy Ware.
It's going to be holding against the Panthers. That'll be declined. So it'll be another turnover on downs. And as we mentioned, partner, it may have been more viable to go for the field goal.
But after so much execution at times to stay on the field, a 5-yard penalty, then a holding penalty on what was a sack, gives the football back to St. Thomas. So the Panthers defense, they've been well rested. So have the Eagles offense, considering the other 2 units have spent the bulk of the first half on the field. And there's only a $1:22 left here in the half.
The problem is they only have 1 timeout remaining.
Feels like each team's called about 4 here in the first half. Rule with a pass. Complete for a short gain, just not much available. Gin Tempo on the grab, but maybe a pickup of 3 or 4 in the play. We'll see how daring the St. Thomas offense is as we go inside 1 minute here in our second quarter. 5 wide receivers in the formation, so a rule to throw. Completes to Winter, the big tight end, but he's out of bounds, so that'll stop the clock. There is a marker down. And Winter lost a shoe.
24, Marcus Evans.
We'll see what the penalty is. Stops the clock with 49 seconds. Still short of the first down after the pass play. A lot of discussions tonight between the guys in the striped shirts. It's going to be an illegal eagle downfield.
I like how you say that. An illegal eagle downfield.
Illegal eagle.
Strong tackle from Jonathan Moss, but clock stopped with 49 seconds to play.
St. Thomas looking for a big play. They try to stretch this Panther defense. You see, they have 8 guys in the box. 4 down linemen. And you have 4 secondary guys right there inside of 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. Now 1 deep safety. Man-to-man coverage on the outside.
Apparently the penalty is declined. So it'll be 3rd and 6. They'd be hoping to get the football back if they can force a stop here. Wide open is Heck. All kinds of running room. No one's going to catch Heck. To the end zone, 63 yards, and the Eagles touchdown.
63 and the St. Thomas
There wasn't a Panther within 30 yards of William Heck.
Well, we talked about their defensive alignment. They had 8 guys tight. And they sneak Heck out, play action, just a wheel route right up front. Nobody goes with the tailback, and it's a 50-yard sprint to the house.
Drew Gidros, maybe the best wide receiver, broke across the field to the left, taking his defender with him, leaving nobody home on this side. And Heck able to rumble 63 yards for the touchdown. And now we'll see if we can convert a PAT in this game. And Jack Brady knocks one through, and it's good. 13-6 St. Thomas. 38 seconds to play in our second quarter from Granger Stadium here in Houston.
That was quick.
This was you. You've been trying to get me to eat egg whites for years. You went and talked to McDonald's?
Oh, an Egg White Delight McMuffin.
Oh, I knew it.
The new Egg White Delight McMuffin. Freshly grilled egg whites and creamy white cheddar. Also available on any of your favorites. It's another new way to love McDonald's.
This is good.
Yeah, it's better than good.
Do you remember my latte?
Oh, yeah, but it's in the car.
That's good.
Light rain falling in the greater Houston area. The bright lights of downtown Houston, Texas. But it's a 13-6 lead for St. Thomas. We might have to see that play again after the kickoff.
Yeah, I want to point something out. It's going to show you how that play unfolded for St. Thomas and how it broke down for St. Pius. A gift, 7 points for St. Thomas to take a 13-6 lead, 38 seconds to go before halftime.
Eric Moore with a kickoff, and he's going to pound one deep. Football's going to bounce inside the 10-yard line. Picked up by Vituli and escorted out of bounds shy of the 25, not leaving much time left here in our second quarter. Let's go back and watch this play one more time, Ken.
Yeah, watch the tailback. Now watch number 2, the defensive back, Hunter Bradford. That's his guy. He's in no man's land, number 2, and that's the reason why the tailback able to go the distance, head to the house, untouched.
Offsides is signaled against the
See the offsides against St. Thomas on the kickoff.
And that was one of the dangers of St. Pius playing so tight to the line of scrimmage with only a few seconds left to go in the half. So blown coverage. But defensively, you kind of have to question the alignment there as well. You had no one back there to defend it.
If that's the case and you're going to play 8 men in the box, I would think it would make even greater importance not to bite on the play fake and to play softer on that coverage.
Exactly, because there's very little chance of them running the ball for 63 yards out of the backfield.
But even if they do, you've got 8 guys there.
You got 8 guys there to tackle him. So, but a great play design that time by St. Thomas.
They'll be backed up, though, and be forced to kick again from the 35. So Eric Moore will kick again. Of course, the St. Thomas team, they were 10-2 last year, so 2 very good teams play each other twice a year. Both should get a great opportunity to play in the postseason. That line drive was caught by Micah Massey. Wasn't sure if he should take a knee or not. Another marker down. Impossible not to have a flag on a kick. And yet the last 2 flags were on offsides and maybe a personal foul, not normally the blocking in the back of the holding that you see so often.
Yeah, I think both teams is getting a little amped up right now. Of course, it's a rivalry game. It's holding call.
It is holding instead of a personal foul. Looked like there was some late. Yes, indeed. So if you're the Panthers, how daring are you at 25 seconds to play in the half?
Not at all.
Yes.
Take a knee.
I've convinced you of that here these last couple of weeks.
You have.
Right? More bad things can happen than good at this juncture of a half.
Yes. Take a knee, go in, recoup, down 7.
Talked about St. Pius X, though. 3 times this year they've had to come back in the last minute or so to win a game. And they'll go into the break down 7 unless they can force a big play here with just a few ticks left on the clock of our second quarter.
Now, unless you want to try a little screen pass or something with Massey, and you just get out of dodge.
Just let Massey run, and he's chopped down shy of the 30. Kirk Selexman up on the stop. And you see the clock rolling and ticking away here in our second quarter, and that should do it before the half here at Hotze Field in Granger Stadium. It was the Eagles scoring first. 3 plays into the game. They led 6-0. The Panthers were able to tie, but they missed a PAT to take the lead. And inside 2 minutes to go in the half, St. Thomas with the touchdown, the extra point. They lead 13-6 at the break on the Legacy Sports Network.
Cane's. I see a Raising Cane's tailgate in your sights. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but you have it in you to tackle that tailgate. To devour enough fresh, never-ever frozen chicken fingers and cane sauce to make tailgate history. Show thirst who's boss with sweet tea and lemonade. Not by the cup, but by the jug. Because this is our house. And today, you eat with the best of them. Raising Cane's, one love. Official sponsor of all things that make game day delicious.
If you're looking for the best selection of crawfish on this side of Louisiana, the Louisiana Crawfish Hut is the place to go. Our seafood selection will make you go home completely satisfied with our dishes, such as our oyster louis and hut platter, not to mention desserts that will cure your sweet tooth craving. The Louisiana Crawfish Hut offers any type of atmosphere you're looking for, whether day or night, 7 days a week with the best service you will find around. Come in and watch your favorite team on any of our 16 TVs. The Louisiana Crawfish Hut, located off Highway 90 in Crosby, offering the best that Louisiana has to offer here in Texas.
Seminary. He's been involved in many mission and pastoral ministries in the Archdiocese here in Galveston, Houston, especially among Spanish-speaking Catholics, with adult youth in Encuentros de Promoción Juvenil and programs of Fe de Vida, with immigrants in the Catholic worker house Casa San Juan Diego, with Radio Maria, and in many local parish groups. Also serving as Archdiocese and Natural Spirit Advisor to the Movimiento Familiar Cristiano Católico USA, and continues as spiritual advisor at the regional level in Houston. Currently, he also accompanies the Venezuelan Catholic community Parroquia Virtual Venezuela Nuestra Señora de Coromoto as their chaplain and spiritual advisor for representing St. Thomas in his continued service to the church. Please join the St. Thomas Alumni Association in recognizing Father Rafael Davila, class of 49, with the 2013 Father Donald T. Cooper Distinguished Alumni Award. Michael J. Senatiempo is a 64 graduate of St. Thomas. Michael served as a writer and editor for the Eagle, was a founding member and officer of Stalco. Father Cooper was a strong influence on Michael, and they remained close friends for many years until Father Cooper's passing, in which Michael served as a pallbearer. Michael attended University of St. Thomas and St. Thomas University, graduating from SLU in 1968. He graduated cum laude in 71 from the University of Houston Bates College of Law. From there, he became a briefing attorney for the
All right, back here at St. Thomas, we're at the half. I'm Brett Dolan. We found Ted Pardee, the proud papa, who's come up to join us. So how are you doing, Ted?
Well, you know, a little nervous out there. When I'm a dad, I have a little bit of a different role here. I've got to be in the stands. I've got to be screaming and cheering a little bit, although it's not all that dissimilar from what you hear on the U of H radio broadcast for me, that's for sure.
Well, your son's Peyton. We've seen him make a few plays. We've called his name and number today. But tell me about the number, wearing number 32, the significance.
Well, number 32 is not what you would normally see from a defensive end, what Peyton is playing tonight, or a linebacker, and yet it was the number that my dad wore. You know, back in the NFL in those days, they didn't really have numbers segmented for positions, so Dad was 32. When I came here to St. Thomas, I wore 32, and then I wore it at the University of Houston, so it's kind of the family number, if you know what I mean.
Oh,
so,
I love that.
Yeah.
Indeed. Well, you know, we're always proud of our kids in whatever endeavor they do, but it seems like, at least for me, and I want to get your opinion, when you're out there with a kid and he's playing in an athletic competition, there's that excitement, the adrenaline, the anticipation. How do you react over the course of a game? It's got to be tough.
Oh, listen, well, first off, you want to have some respect for the coaches, right? They're doing their job, and you know, junior high and high school football, there's a lot of passion in there, so you have to kind of be reserved a little bit in it and let those guys do their job. But, you know, I had the pleasure of coaching my kids in soccer. I coached my daughter in softball for many years. I also coached my boys in football, and so it's special to be able to contribute and to do that and experience that, right? You know,
Absolutely.
If I would encourage every former athlete, the thing they need to do is find a little league team and get involved. Go coach, because that information they have in their minds, they don't realize, but there's so much data in there that they can share with these kids and teach them the sport that they love, you know?
Yeah, nothing more rewarding. Yeah. Well, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about the Cougars. You're able to be in town tonight because the Cougars are in town on Saturday to face BYU. What a great start for Tony Levine and the company.
Well, listen, so proud as a Cougar and so proud of what Tony has been able to do this year. You know, the Houston Cougars are kind of a no-name team. They're a team that doesn't have a lot of big, flashy, big-name players, but a lot of young emerging players. John O'Corn as a quarterback is somebody that's very special. And if you don't know anything about him, I'd encourage you to tune in and pay attention to this kid. He's going to be somebody that over the next 4 years, he's going to impress people. He's as good as Case Keenum was when he was a true freshman. I'm going to throw that out there. I'm just going to say it. And Case is getting his first start for the Texans this Sunday, so we're, as a Cougar and a member of the Cougar family, we're very excited about that.
Well, I want to come back to Keenan, but I want to finish on the Cougars because I thought it was very important that they get off to a good start because that schedule gets pretty tough here real soon.
Well, it starts with this week.
Correct.
So BYU, everybody knows, their quarterback, Taysom Hill, goes for over 250 yards of rushing against the University of Texas, goes and gets 3 touchdowns against Texas. They roll up 500-plus yards off. Hey, listen, don't think that the Cougs don't know what they are capable of offensively. It's Taysom Hill's he's a dual threat quarterback. He's one of those guys that you've got to account for him on every play. But I say, hey, one of the special things about this Houston Cougar team is they've got a great defense for the first time in a long time. This defense is unbelievable, leading the nation in takeaways, 18 takeaways, and they've capitalized on every single takeaway. So they've scored every time they get the ball back. So, hey, I'm fired up. It's going to be a great game tomorrow.
Well, I know you Cougar fans are fired up in general. You mentioned the name, Case Keenum. He gets the start Sunday in Arrowhead. Cougar Nation, they're pretty excited, and I think that carries over to the Texans fans as well.
Sure.
What do you anticipate, having been around the program and watched Case so much as a college player? Will this stage be too big for him, or is this something he's been waiting for quite some time?
Well, I think Case is one of those guys that has always had his back against the wall. He was not recruited heavily out of high school. Played for the second best team up in Abilene, so he wasn't the hot shot coming out of college or coming out of high school, but he was the guy that always worked harder than everybody else. He dedicated the hours, and he was the smartest kid on the field every time. He has the capabilities. He's got the gun. I mean, he can throw that ball, and he's able to run around a little bit. So if there's anybody that I think that could rise to the occasion for the Texans, I think it's Case Keenum.
How about a guy who's never been active in an NFL game? First time he is. He's
getting
under
a start
at Arrowhead.
Oh, my goodness, against the Chiefs. And the Chiefs are a fantastic team going against that Chief defense. I think it's a tall task. But, again, Case adds a dimension to the Texans' offense. I wouldn't be shocked if they don't go with a little 3-by-2, 3 wide receivers on one side, 2 on another. Go with that old college set. A lot of teams in the NFL are doing it today, and let Case make some decisions and maybe even run the ball up the middle.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's going to be fun. And before I let you go, and we do appreciate your time today, are you able to go more than a couple of days without someone coming up to you and telling you how much they miss your dad, who we lost
Brett,
not that long ago?
Well, thanks so much for bringing up my dad. He was a special guy, had a great – he was able to touch many people's lives, and it's a special thing that I get to celebrate every day.
I'm a big football fan when it comes to books and movies, and I'm not from here, and I grew up not that far from where your dad was born in small-town Iowa. When I got to Texas, though, one of the stories that I loved hearing about was the Junction Boys, and I'm curious what his reaction was when the book and the movie came out. Not somebody that just went to Junction, but somebody who came back, because we know there was a lot fewer that came back than went there. Were they a little bit overwhelmed with the attention? Did they find it crazy that people wanted to make a movie of this, or did they enjoy all the hubbub that came with that wonderful story?
It's an amazing story that it even happened, right? And that it involved Bear Bryant, who's one of the greatest all-time coaches, one of the top 2 or 3 coaches all time, and the fact that it molded this team that had not won a game. That team, in their freshman year, they had lost every game of the year. They come back 3 years later, and they win every game. They don't lose a single game. They have one tie, interesting enough, against the University of Houston. But there is our fate, right? But Dad, we used to tell stories about the Junction Boys as I was growing up for years, and nobody really knew about it. It was a private little conversation that was very near and dear to the Texas Aggies, and they understood what that was about. But it really wasn't a public story until a few years ago when ESPN got a hold of it. There was a book written about it, and it just kind of exploded from there. And there's some incredible stories. Obviously, when we all read the book, right? So as soon as the Junction Boys book came out, we all opened it up, we cracked it up, we read every page, and I'm asking my dad, I'm like, wait a minute, Dad, you didn't tell me this story. And he was like, well, Ted, hold on a second. That story may have been exaggerated just a little bit. So there is some embellishment, but not much. I mean, I think it's true to the story. And those guys, the Junction Boys, they're amazing guys, and they were a tight-knit group of guys, very close friends. And one thing that my dad always told me about me and my friends from the University of Houston, he said, you know, Ted, you're lucky. You have a group of friends that we had Andre Ware, Heisman Trophy winner, off of my junior class. We had 7 guys off of our defense that were drafted. So 7 out of 11 guys got drafted off that U of H defense. I mean, we had a special group. And he said, you know, he goes, you guys weren't the same as the Junction Boys, but you had that same relationship with your teammates.
That's outstanding.
So whether it's David Klingler or Andre Ware, any of those guys, Lamar Lathan, these are my near and dear friends, and I get to see them all the time, and we have that sort of similar relationship.
Well, that's an outstanding story, because I was going to say they don't make guys quite as tough as they used to.
Boy, they sure don't, right?
I mean, that's a different era.
I mean, can you imagine no water?
No, I
Brett,
can't.
Brett, no water.
No.
Sorry, no water. You don't get any water at all for in 95-degree heat.
Well, isn't that what made the story the best? And we'll finish on this, is because as you're watching this, and people that aren't familiar with football might find this inhuman, and how in the world did anybody survive the bear? And then you see the end, and the guys come back, and their relationships with the bear, and
Right.
what he meant for their lives,
yeah.
and molding them as men going forward, which was really the great capper of that whole story.
Well, my dad always used to share a story with every team that he coached, whether it was the Chicago Bears when he was the head coach and coaching Walter Payton, or whether it was with the Redskins coaching Joe Theismann, or with the Houston Oilers. He always shared one story that Bear Bryant gave to him, and that's the story of the mustard seed. And Bear Bryant came in, woke all of his players up in the middle of the night, and brought them into a room and gave them a little capsule with a mustard seed in it. And if you know anything about a mustard, it's a biblical story, but the mustard seed is one of the smallest seeds out there, but it grows into one of the most strong, prolific plants that's out there. And so Bear Bryant's story was, if you can have the strength of a mustard seed, if you can approach what you're doing on a daily basis, whether it's football or your life, he's like, I'm not here to make you good football players, I'm here to make you good men. And my dad would share that with all of us, and it touches me to this day, and my friends, we all joke about it. They're like, hey, Ted, how about your dad and the mustard seed story? And you can ask, to a man, we all can appreciate that, and that came from Bear Bryant.
You know, that's what I love football. It's the tradition, the history, and the stories, and that's why we appreciate you coming up and spending so much time with us.
Thanks, Brett. Great, always a pleasure. Great to see you.
Good luck to the Cougs, and good luck to Peyton down there,
All right.
and good luck to Dad, even more importantly.
Thank you. I need a little help out there, that's for sure.
That's Ted Pardee. We appreciate him stopping up. We'll come back at the half. St. Thomas leading 13-6 on the Legacy Sports Network.
Let's give them a big round of applause. Pantherette of the Week is Victoria Robles.
It's time to go back in time, share in the merriment of hundreds of live performances, the taste of over 1,000 foods, and the fun of dozens of games and rides. And be sure to enjoy special savings opening weekend, October 12th and 13th. Brought to you by DeMontron Coca-Cola. Huzzah!
With our Name Your Price tool, people pick a price and we help them find a policy that works for them. Also, we've been working on something very special. One day, the world, no, the universe, will have the pricing power they deserve. We'll work on it. Watch on.
The time is now for live video highlights of your school's march to excellence.
News sets up inside of the pitch. High fly to left. It's up. It's deep. And it's going to be gone.
Legacy Sports Network brings you high-quality HD video broadcasted by the best in the business.
Handoff, Adam Taylor lunges to the end zone, touchdown.
This is one of the most exciting things.
With all the runs, hits, scores, and more, we're building a legacy one game at a time.
I appreciate it, Gerald. You guys at Legacy do an unbelievable job.
Join us on pay-per-view or video live streaming your favorite high school and college athletics at legacysportsnetwork.com.
Legacy Sports Network is going to be bringing this presentation to your home.
The theme to the Magnificent Seven, Elmer's best tune. Next up, Bad Teeth and Outrageous Accents were all the rage in the mid-90s when this clever little movie came out. Here is the theme to Austin Powers. Theme to Austin Powers, ladies and gentlemen. And lastly, in our exploration of all things thematic, TV in the 70s was extremely different. Only in the 70s would we have called swinging singles on the high seas entertainment. Well, considering TV today, maybe we should bring it back. Here is, ladies and gentlemen, and you may sing along if you would like, the theme to The Love Boat. That was the theme to the Love Boat, everyone, and hopefully you all have got a martini in your hands at this time. So that's the St. Thomas halftime show. The St. Thomas Band is sponsored by the Brazilian Fathers, teaching young men goodness, discipline, and knowledge for over 100 years.
If you're looking for the best selection of crawfish on this side of Louisiana, the Louisiana Crawfish Hut is the place to go. Our seafood selection will make you go home completely satisfied with our dishes, such as our oyster louis and hut platter. Not to mention desserts that will cure your sweet tooth craving. The Louisiana Crawfish Hut offers any type of atmosphere you're looking for, whether day or night, 7 days a week with the best service you will find around. Come in and watch your favorite team on any of our 16 TVs. The Louisiana Crawfish Hut, located off Highway 90 in Crosby, offering the best that Louisiana has to offer here in Texas.
Here's a crazy idea. What if your bank actually paid you for using your debit card? Let's say 10 cents for every $10 or more debit card purchase. How amazing would that be? We call it Cashback Counts Checking from Community Bank, a free debit card that pays you to use it. Even he's smiling at that. Swipe all you can from your bank. Community Bank of Texas. Bank where you live.
If I get pneumonia,
break my arm.
Need to know if my pain is something more.
I know I can trust Neighbors Emergency Center to save me.
They save my time.
They'll save me from missing the championship.
They'll save me from missing my meeting.
They'll save me from missing the chance to walk her down the aisle someday.
They save me. He saves me.
You save me.
Neighbors Emergency Center saves lives.
Neighbors Emergency Center. Care that counts. Experience that matters.
Nothing brings the community together like high school sports. And for the Allegiance Bank team, our partnership with the community is a big deal.
From blood drives to food drives, to even the longest of rides, Allegiance bankers are committed to making a difference and impacting the local community, providing volunteer hours and rolling up our sleeves as an active and responsible community partner.
At Allegiance Bank, we are your neighbor and your community bank. That's our game plan.
This was you. You've been trying to get me to eat egg whites for years. You went and talked to McDonald's?
Oh, an Egg White Delight McMuffin.
Oh, I knew it.
The new Egg White Delight McMuffin. Freshly grilled egg whites and creamy white cheddar. Also available on any of your favorites. It's another new way to love McDonald's.
This is good.
Yeah, it's better than good.
Do you remember my latte?
Oh, yeah, but it's in the car.
That's good.
If I get pneumonia,
break my arm.
Need to know if my pain is something more.
I know I can trust Neighbors Emergency Center to save me.
They save my time.
They'll save me from missing the championship.
They'll save me from missing my meeting.
They'll save me from missing the chance to walk her down the aisle someday.
They save me. He saves me.
You save me.
Neighbors Emergency Center saves lives.
Neighbors Emergency Center. Care that counts. Experience that matters.
It's a 13-6 halftime lead for the Eagles. A late touchdown, Ken, gave them the advantage. And it's been kind of an interesting game with the length of time that the Panthers have been on the field for a couple of their drives.
Yeah, you look at St. Pius, over 16 minutes time of possession in the first half, almost double that of St. Thomas with a couple of real long drives. St. Thomas, on the other hand, 2 quick strike drives. The first drive of the ball game only took a minute and 11 seconds, 12-yard touchdown from Rule to Winner. Then the last drive, less than a minute, the 63-yard strike to William Heck, a 67-yard drive to put them up 13-6 going into the halftime break.
Any individual stats we should take a peek at before we get this third quarter underway?
Well, you look at the rushing yardage so far. Massey for St. Pius, 12 carries, 50 yards. Heck for St. Thomas, 7 carries for 88 yards. Quarterbacks have been very efficient so far, even with the rainy weather conditions, where for St. Pius, 9 of 10, 75 yards with a touchdown. Rule for St. Thomas, 5 of 7, 92 yards, a pair of scores. And the receivers have also had a big night. Newman, 5 receptions, 57 yards for the Panthers. Winter, a touchdown grab. Heck, also a touchdown grab for the Eagles.
So much for our opening thought, with maybe the light rain causing some problems for the passing game. Just 3 incomplete passes the entire first half.
Yeah, both teams playing real solid football. We did have quite a few penalties in the first half. 4 penalties for the Panthers, 4 for 30 yards. St. Thomas picked up a pair of penalties for 20 yards. Fourth downs have been big in this ball game. St. Pius, 3 of 4, and St. Thomas, 0 of 2.
21, Eric Moore to kick off for St.
About ready for third quarter action. 13-6. St. Thomas with the advantage, scored that late touchdown at the end of our second quarter.
St. Pius will get the football to begin the second half. They will be going from left to right. In their road white jerseys, the black pants, the orange trim, the black numerals, and the black helmets. St. Thomas in the home red jerseys with the red pants, the white hats, and the red logo.
Massey from the 21. And Massey will carry out across the 35. Decent field position for St. Pius, the 10th. They'll have the football first, of course, here in our third quarter. And we'll see if they can put together another long drive, something we've seen them done on 2 occasions in the game.
96-yard drive for their lone score. It was a 16-play drive, took 8:27, bridging the first and second periods. Each team has missed an extra point here tonight, thus the 13-6 score.
So the sophomore quarterback, Timmy Ware, came into the game with more than 1,200 yards of passing offense this season. Will operate the offense with Micah Massey behind him in this pistol formation. And you see the 3 receivers to the left. Brian Newman has been a man as expected with a big game tonight. And Massey carries across midfield. A strong gain right at about 10 yards on the play. And he was dropped by Zach Zubel, but not before he got into that second level.
Yeah, Massey averaging just under 5 yards per carry. He got a good pull block that time. The guard, Reese Forrest, leading the way through the line.
Moving for a St. Pius first down.
10 yards on the pickup, 1st and 10.
So just shy of midfield, 1 play into the third quarter. Ware likes to throw out of that formation. There is Newman, diving to about the 42. Zubel wrapped up his ankles and credited with a stop.
This time they go outside the numbers to Newman. He caught a lot of passes in the first half on the inside slant routes, attacking the inside of the St. Thomas zone. That time they go outside the numbers. Picks up 9, 2nd and short.
Ware barking out that play call. Massey will carry for the first down and more, and he'll drag tacklers to about the 30. So Micah Massey took Zubel for a ride. David Jones was also involved in that stop, but Micah Massey been a force here in this opening drive.
Yeah, 12 yards on that run by Massey. He picked up 10 a couple of plays ago. St. Pius again moving the sticks.
Travis Williamson also involved on that play. It's Massey again, but this time running room would be much more difficult to come by, and he is thrown backwards. Lorenzo Neal had him around the shoulder pads and threw him backwards.
Yeah, Neal, the big sophomore. You see him there, big 57 in the middle of your screen. Coming in to make the stop. Short gain, 2nd down, 8. This Eagle defense so far tonight has been a bend but don't break module.
Ware really waited the last opportunity before he got rid of that handoff, and Massey just had nowhere to go. Kurt Hansen, first man there, and that play went backwards. They lost yardage.
Yeah, we've heard a lot from Hansen and Neal here tonight. Those big guys up front. Those two big defensive tackles destroying the interior of that Panther offensive front. It's going to make it 3rd and long.
So a passing down, you would think, for the Panthers. Keep in mind, they have been a come-from-behind team really over 3 games in particular this season. Where the left-handed quarterback rolling to the right, firing into the end zone. That ball out of the reach of his intended target.
So again, another good drive by St. Pius Panthers. Stalls.
Well, Timmy Ware completed 10 straight passes until that low percentage play. Really kind of threw it out of the side of the end zone. But he'll stay on the field with his 4th and 10. And again, kind of in no man's land. This would be almost a 50-yard field goal, so the Panthers will go for it.
3 or 4 so far on first downs here this evening. Long distance 4th down opportunity coming up here.
Newman, the outside receiver to the left. Ware, I think, wanted to target him, but he will go down. Dropped by Lowry, and we talked about him earlier. Here was a man last year, Ken. He had 20 tackles for losses and 12 sacks. Wasn't sure if he'd play today. Well, he has played, and he just made a play.
Yeah, and he had Massey wide open in the flat to his left. Did not see him. Pressure got the best of him. Had to eat the football. Turnover on downs.
St. Thomas with the football and a 7-point lead. Rule to throw in the opening sequence. And that pass sailed beyond Chris Winter, the intended target, a man who scored a touchdown earlier. There is a marker down in the area, maybe either a hold or a roughing the passer. Let's see if we can see a shot on Rule.
Oh, he went low at the quarterback's knees, and that's going to draw a penalty every time.
Roughing the passer. Referee Doug Whitsitt with that indication, a mark-off going against the Panthers. Ken, is it just me? Do we see a lot of penalties, or is it every game in high school football? Because wherever we go each and every week, we see more than our fair share.
Yeah, you see the yellow flags flying just a little bit too much. And, yeah, that's going to be the 5th penalty tonight against St. Pius.
So a big break for St. Thomas. There's Heck. Heck needs to continue between the hashes and race past Fontana, stays on his feet, and he's inside the 5. Chase Fontana was finally there to corral Heck, but it was almost like running down a bowling lane between the hashes.
Oh, watch this run by Heck. Watch 13, Jalen Smith just get all turned around. Did not know where the running back was. Finally dragged down by Fontana, but not after he picks up 50 yards on the run. 1st and goal for the Eagles.
It's this big field. He just continued between the hashes right down the Panthers to stop him. That's Michael Keating into the game. So Keating replaces Michael Rule. Ran into the line and just not much room available against the Panthers.
Yeah, Cameron Austin with the tackle coming up from his linebacker position. But as you mentioned, a new quarterback in the ball game now, Michael Keating. Not sure if Rule got shaken up or what happened. We'll check it out.
Keating maybe more the running quarterback will run right into the end zone. Touchdown, St. Thomas. And it's a 19-6 Eagles advantage, and we'll see it again.
Well, watch the big, strong quarterback, the sophomore Keating. He just goes right behind his big fullback. Lawrence Jordan leading the way. Jordan Lawrence, I should say, leading the way. And Keating able to take it in for 6.
4th rushing touchdown this season. Here is the extra point try from Jack Brady, and it's true. 8:16 to play in our 3rd quarter. A new score. St. Thomas leads St. Pius the 10th by a score of 20-6. on the Legacy Sports Network.
Football fans, I see a Raising Cane's tailgate in your sights. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but you have it in you to tackle that tailgate. To devour enough fresh, never-ever-frozen chicken fingers and cane sauce to make tailgate history. Show thirst who's boss with sweet tea and lemonade. Not by the cup, but by the jug. Because this is our house. And today, you eat with the best of them. Raising Cane's, one love. Official sponsor of all things that make game day delicious.
St. Thomas wasting little time finding the end zone here in the third quarter.
3-play, 70-yard drive, only took 57 seconds. 5-yard touchdown run by Mike Keating. The big play, the 50-yard blast by Heck right up the middle, set up the score, 20-6. 8:16 to go, third period.
Santi Gonzalez will kick off this time for St. Thomas. Massey will handle again from the 21. Massey stays on his feet, and he's planted at the 40. Pile drive, in fact, just shy of the 40-yard line, and that's where St. Pius X will begin. Maybe another marker down.
Yes, sir. Your specialty.
I'm telling you, every single kickoff, it doesn't matter the team or the situation.
In the back, signaled against St. Pius.
Penalty going against the Panthers, so that field position, which was going to be respectable, will no longer exist. We'll see if we can see the penalty.
Looks like it was 22 there to the left of the screen for St. Pius X, and that's going to be Terrell Franklin, the sophomore. They'll mark it from the 30, and that'll go back to the 20. And that's where they'll begin this possession.
So a difference of about 18 or 19 yards from where they would have been set up had that penalty not taken place.
Officially at the 21, so that's where St. Pius X will start. They trail by 2 touchdowns.
Of course, last week they had 51 points, part of a 51-49 win. The week before they had 41 points against Beaumont Kelly. Well, they're going to need at least 21 to win this evening, and see what Timmy Ware can do. A young man, of course, the son of the coach, a man who has been coming to practice, in the words of Blake Ware, ever since he's been big enough to sit in the dummy and just watch, just observe. Normally watching the quarterbacks, that's his position. Now Micah Massey competing for yards up to about the 25. Joseph Lowry credited with a stop.
And as we go deeper into the night, the temperature falls a little bit more. In the low 60s now here in the greater Houston area. The breeze picking up as well out of the east. Going now at about 8 to 10 miles per hour.
You have to start a fire. Houstonians might find this a bit cold. 2nd and 6. It's Massey again. Boy, he's able to stay on his feet, bounce out of that first tackle, and continue on for a first down.
The first night of real football weather, real fall football weather here in the greater Houston area. A little rain, a little breeze, a little chill in the air.
A little bit of everything. Kurt Hansen made the tackle after a gain of 8, so a fresh set of downs for the Panthers. They're still not back to where they would have started this drive without that penalty. Massey may have run up the back of his own man and dropped.
Tripped up by Jarius Pollard.
And again, you see Neal. He didn't get the tackle on that play, but he just disrupted the entire offensive flow by exploding into the backfield.
Well, he's a force in that line. Mix him in with a Joe Lowry. I think Pollard made that tackle. 2nd and 9. Ware on the rollout. Find his man for what should be another first down. I believe that is Nick Minkoff. Seen him make a couple of catches. He began the night with 4 catches for 61 yards on the season. You would think this would be where Ware is the most effective, rolling to the left side as the southpaw QB.
Yeah, absolutely. You saw that pass right on the money, right over the defender in front of the corner.
Usually a 3 or a 4 wide receiver formation, no tight end for St. Pius X. Massey with another carry. Just a couple of yards, nothing fancy as he dives across the 45-yard line.
And as a team, they average over 6.5 yards per carry on the season. So they like to pick them up in chunks.
It's the 46, gain of 2.
Second and 8 coming.
Couple of yards on the play, 2nd and 8. Still shy of midfield for the Panthers.
They're chewing up some clock, chewing up some yardage, but they're going to have to find a way to get into the end zone.
That's my next question. That would be much more effective up than down. Pass for Newman, a little bit out of his reach, but it looked like he was being held. And you see the marker come flying in. Zach Zubel either had him on the arm or around the shoulder that impeded his progress towards the pursuit of that football.
Yeah, referee Johnny on the spot for that one.
Would imagine we'll be able to see this one again and give an indication of where that hold took place. Here we go.
Yep, you saw it. Hands in the cookie jar.
May have happened a bit after the play, and you see Zubel's reaction as if to say, "What? Me?" If he watches CSN on a Saturday morning, he can watch that one again in slow motion replay. Wider version of that play. A lot of red jerseys surrounding Newman, but the penalty will be marked off against the Eagles.
But the referee's having some discussion on where to spot the football.
Yeah, they're having some troubles.
If it's a holding penalty, it just should be 5 yards from the original line of scrimmage.
It's not a 10-yard penalty. It's a spot foul. No, the spot foul was in midfield anyway.
Looks like they're going to spot it at the 44, we think.
So it's a 10-yard penalty for defensive holding.
More than halfway through our third quarter, the lone points have come from the Eagles. It was a 13-6 game at the half. Blake Ware hoping his offense can find a way to put it in the end zone and get right back in this game. They've certainly been tested late in contests, so it's not out of their comfort zone, so to speak. But in this rivalry game, you know that quarterback Timmy Ware wants to convert now that they've been on the march. Massey won't get the jet sweep. Ware with a rumble inside the 25-yard line near the sticks again.
Yeah, good decision that time by Ware to pull it. As he looks a little shaken up as he goes back to get the next play call. He took a big hit on that run, but a nice run nonetheless. Picks up the first down. Chains keep moving as we hit 5.5 in the third.
Gain of 11. Mentioned he was the Built Ford Tough Texas High School Football Player of the Week last week. Some of the guys that have won that award in previous years, a guy by the name of Manziel, a guy by the name of Burkhead, RG3, Garrett Gilbert, pretty good company.
Oh.
Massey may have been horse collared. Lorenzo Neal, and there's the laundry flying in. Neal stating his case, but there's too many markers on the field for this not to go against St. Thomas.
It'll be interesting to see if he got jersey or if he actually got his hand inside the shoulder pad.
Markoff was a face mask, but this has to be more of a horse collar, and we'll see it again.
You see him again penetrating through, and really he didn't do anything wrong. I mean, he just got a big paw around the shoulder, and he's such a big, strong kid. He just twisted the tail back around. That was actually a good play by Neal. That's a bad call that time.
You see the walk-off, the official had the football in Neal's back, pushing him forward. Keep going, keep going, keep moving. Football marked all the way down to the 17. A couple of breaks or a couple of penalties here on St. Thomas that have helped out the Panthers on this march. Massey. Stay on his feet, inside the 5, near the goal line. First and goal for St. Pius X.
16-yard rumble for Massey. It'll be first and goal for the Panthers.
This was a determined run.
And again, another good lead block. The pulling guard, 58, Reese Forrest, leading the way.
fourth man was Joseph Lowry. Massey made the first 3 miss. First and goal from the 2. The Panthers trying to get right back in this game. See if Massey carries again. Why not? He started this drive. Can he finish this drive? Near the goal line.
Massey, the ball carrier.
And he's short.
No forward progress granted by the goal line refs. And Massey's like, come on, man.
Priceless reaction.
Second and goal for St. Pius.
So another time-consuming drive. It'll be more than worth it for St. Pius X if they're able to convert. But even this close to the goal line, they do not go under center. Still this pistol formation. Ware barking at instructions. Massey set up behind him. Michael Massey scored 7 touchdowns this year. It's a pass intended for Newman. It falls incomplete. We have another marker down.
Yeah, it's going to be pass interference.
On the coverage was Mark Davis.
At the goal line. On the coverage was Mark Davis. He's a sophomore as well. And unless that ball was tipped, that was a good call.
Defensive holding. What this will do, of course, is give that fresh set of downs.
Yeah, watch at the top of your screen, one-on-one. You see the inside slant.
Was not a well-thrown ball. One of the few maybe underthrown by Timmy Ware in this game.
Might just go into center here and just walk it in. I mean, there's no one over the center defensively. That's going to be offside.
And Ware will carry to the pylon, and he's in if it stands.
Number 10, Timmy Ware for the St. Pius.
Timmy Ware rushing for his 10th rushing touchdown this year. If the penalty is indeed offsides against the defense, it is. That's 6 for the Panthers.
Offsides penalty signaled against St. Thomas is declined, and it's a touchdown.
And it's an 8-point game. And let's see this one again. Great play fake. Everybody goes after Massey. And there's Ware.
Yep, he makes a little one-on-one move in the backfield. Outruns the defender to the pylon. And St. Pius right back in this ball game. Nice drive, 79-yard drive. Nearly 5 minutes off the clock.
Sam Vituli for the extra point from the hold of Brian Newman. His previous effort was blocked. This one is good. It's a 7-point game. With 3:41 to play in our third quarter. Good ball game tonight from Granger Stadium and Hotze Field. Back with more after this on the Legacy Sports Network.
The time is now for live video highlights of your school's march to excellence.
News sets up inside of the pitch. High fly to left. It's up. It's deep. And it's going to be gone.
Legacy Sports Network brings you high-quality HD video broadcasted by the best in the business.
Handoff. Adam Taylor lunges to the end zone. Touchdown.
This is one of the most exciting things.
With all the runs, hits, scores, and more, we're building a legacy one game at a time.
I appreciate it, Gerald. You guys at Legacy do an unbelievable job.
Join us on pay-per-view or video live streaming your favorite high school and college athletics at legacysportsnetwork.com.
Legacy Sports Network is going to be bringing this presentation to your home.
Ken, it was a 7-point game at the break. It remains a 7-point contest here late in the third.
Yeah, both teams have exchanged touchdowns here in the third period. St. Thomas on the return.
Big kick from Vituli. And returned by Davis to about the 20, so not great field position for St. Thomas. As they will get the football back.
For that last drive by the Panthers, 10 plays, 79 yards, took 4.5 minutes off the clock. 1-yard touchdown run by Timmy Ware. Extra point is good. We have a 7-point ball game with 3:34 to go here in the third period.
See what the Eagles can do. Michael Keating ran it in the last drive. Looks like Rule is back out as the QB, and he is, but he'll find William Heck. Heck's been explosive tonight, and he darts across the 40-yard line for a gain in excess of 20 yards.
Heck, the ball carrier, champion, the lead.
William Heck coming into this ball game, averaging 7 yards per carry, 97 carries, 693 yards. The first half, he had 88. He's well over 100 now, 159 on 21 carries.
Big
night. 9 carries, excuse me.
There's Wendell Champion. Wendell Champion into the second level.
Champion for the Eagles.
Finally dropped by Dominic Garcia, but another big game for the Eagles offense.
Champion getting into the act.
17 yards.
His first carry of the night came into this evening, 114 yards on the season. He averages 5 yards a pop, so both of these teams like to grind it out on the ground.
Just got 17. Rule will just turn and run.
That's number 18, Michael
Rule inside the 30, so back-to-back big rushing plays from St. Thomas.
Yeah, this Eagle offense rolling on all cylinders here in the second half.
Yards.
And this Panther defense on their heels.
This would be a bit demoralizing for the Panthers defense if they give up points, considering their offense was such a long, effective drive to make this a 7-point game in their previous last sequence. Heck will carry again. And stuck quickly by Terrell Franklin.
By number 22, Terrell Franklin.
So nothing on that play. It'll be 2nd and 10. There's a good look at Franklin. Up to make that stop. Just a sophomore, but Franklin actually credited with a tackle for a loss, so it's 2nd and 11. Bobbled snap. Rule will pick it up, but he's going backwards, and then he lost it again.
Boy. Double jeopardy.
Rule, the ball carrier.
Fumbled it twice, recovered it twice.
Cameron Austin, the first man there, yeah, and you see the football, it's hitting the turf a couple of different times. That's one.
A 5-yard loss.
There's 2.
And this is a St. Pius defense that has recovered 4 fumbles on the year, 7 interceptions. No turnovers here tonight.
Rule steps up into the pocket to throw. He's one towards the end zone. Heck had that one sailed just out of his reach.
End zone intended for Heck.
Close to another Eagles touchdown.
You see him step up in the pocket. Good throw. Had a receiver. Heck had a step. Just couldn't get there. You might want to lay out for that one.
Hunter Bradford, the closest man there on coverage. 2 men were trailing Heck, but the incomplete pass brings up 4th and 16, so the Eagles were on the march, chewing up yardage, but that last drive.
Another one of these funky formations.
Bit of the swinging gate, so Rule will just take it and throw it. Wide open, down the left sidelines, the pass is caught. Chris Zook.
With the reception.
The second time we've seen someone come out of the backfield and be wide open down the left sideline.
And a roughing the passer penalty signaled against
4th and 16. The Eagles stay on the field. They convert the pass on the sideline, which we'll see here, and there was a roughing the passer penalty.
And there's the hit on the quarterback. Let's see if he had control. He's kind of bobbling that football before he goes out of bounds. I don't think he had a foot down before he goes out of bounds.
Good call, Kenny. Has a foot down, but he doesn't have control. There's the foot.
Yeah, he doesn't have control until he's out of bounds. That should have been an incomplete pass. But there's no replay, official replay that is, in high school ball. So the play will stand plus the penalty.
Well, that's a killer for St. Pius X.
Should be half the distance right there. There's 6.
Officials have had a very difficult time marking off penalties this evening. Looks like they've got it right. That's the most important thing. But it's 1st and goal at the 7.
St. Thomas.
Michael Rule remains in the game. With a pump fake inside the 5 and hit hard. Cameron Austin, I believe, was the first man to hit it, number 15. And drop shy of the goal line. It'll be 2nd and goal.
So the Eagles now
Number 22, Terrell
right
Franklin
back
with
into
the
the red
stop
zone.
for St. Pius. Rule the ball carrier. 2nd and goal.
Looking to extend this to a 2-score game once again as we approach a minute to go here in the third period. And
Jordan Lawrence in the backfield, but there's a whistle.
And Michael Keating back in at quarterback.
Procedure signaled against St. Thomas.
Keating already with 1 touchdown on the night, 4 for the season.
Markoff will make this a longer field, of course, with the St. Thomas offense. You see Michael Keating in the game. He ran it in the last opportunity. He got a chance to take a couple of snaps. Jordan Lawrence lined up to his right. Keating looking for a block, staying on his feet, diving for the goal line. Is he in?
Goal line for the touchdown.
Touchdown, St. Thomas. So Michael Keating has proved to be a weapon running the football.
Initial call, holding signaled against St. Thomas.
It'll be his 5th rushing touchdown if it stands, but marker down again. Holding on the offense.
They'll wipe out the score. They're going to bring it back, and the faithful here on the home side not happy about that. So both teams killing themselves with penalties here in the third period.
See if St. Thomas is able to overcome. See if you can spot the hold.
2nd and goal, St. Thomas, the 18-yard line.
Right here.
Yeah, he just tackles
right
him over to the right side of the screen.
I think that's going to get flagged in space.
Pretty blatant.
2nd and 18. Heck will go nowhere. In fact, he's planted.
Number 51, Sam
Pierce
for St. Pius.
Man who's on his way to Rice to play his college football made a big play.
Yeah, the big senior. Watch him just crash down and big bear hug. William Heck takes a little AstroTurf on that one.
Avery Sims was going low. Pierce came in high, yeah. 3rd and 18. Rule has to step up into the pocket. He has a lot of room, angling right to the 10. Stays on his feet at the 5.
Rule the ball carrier.
Yeah, hold down. That'll be our final play of the third quarter. We'll see this one again as we go to break. It looked like Rule had a lot of running room.
Yeah, good pursuit to keep him out of the end zone. Coming up to make the hit. One of the defenders, Jalen Smith. So, decision time on the other end of the field. Will the Eagles go for 3 to try to extend their lead? They'll take a 7-point lead into the third quarter break.
Here's a crazy idea. What if your bank actually paid you for using your debit card? Let's say 10 cents for every $10 or more debit card purchase. How amazing would that be? We call it Cashback Counts Checking from Community Bank, a free debit card that pays you to use it. Even he's smiling at that. Swipe all you can from your bank. Community Bank of Texas. Bank where you live.
Our game brought to you by Mentor's Staffing. Our talent is finding yours. And by Garola Repro Graphics, a job done right the first time. Broadcast tonight on the Legacy Sports Network. To thank all of our sponsors. Meanwhile, with this 7-point lead, Jack Brady will come on and try and knock through a field goal. 23-yard try, and that one's blocked. Second time tonight we've had a kick blocked. Earlier tonight, the Panthers lost an extra point. There, the Eagles try for 3, no good. Remains a 7-point game.
Huge special teams play by the Panthers. Let's see if we can see who got the block. And it was Jalen Smith once again coming off the edge. So that'll keep it a 1-possession game. Panthers will take over 1st and 10 at their own 20-yard line, trailing by a touchdown.
See what type of magic Timmy Ware has here tonight in the fourth quarter. Previous drive, he took it in. a rushing touchdown from a yard out.
Now, for some reason, the clock did not start on that field goal attempt, so we're still showing 12 minutes to go.
That was my next question. You beat me to it.
He's going deep.
Deep ball, and it's caught. Hold in by Minkoff in Eagles territory.
Sophomore to sophomore.
34-yard pickup, a big play coming off that field goal block. We'll see it again.
Yeah, Ware just rolling to his left. Stops and pops, throws it up. One of the few explosive plays we've seen tonight in the passing game for the Panthers. But he hits Minkoff across midfield, 1st and 10.
Selectsman on coverage there, but the big gainer has the Panthers on the march. 3 receivers, you see him to the left side of the field. Ware will keep. Got a couple of yards, but he was flipped down by Jordan Lawrence. Couple of yards on the play.
Looks like this may be one that goes down to the wire here tonight. See if the Panthers can cash in after that big reception by Minkoff.
We expected a good game. We expected a competitive game. 5-1. St. Pius X, 5-0. St. Thomas, first of 2 meetings with these 2 teams this season. And there's Massey, carries inside the 40. Look at him pull that pile, shy of the marker, but near a first down. It'll be 3rd and short.
Yeah, Jordan Lawrence finally able to drag him down, but not before Massey carries him for about 5 additional yards.
We have not had many close games in our Friday night game of the week and our Saturday morning replays on CSN. This could be one of those that goes down to the wire on 3rd and short. Massey fighting for the first down. You see the line judge come in very much near the spot. Maybe he has it by the length of a football. I don't know.
It's definitely 4-down territory if he doesn't make it.
They're going to measure. At first I thought the spot might be good, and now I'm wondering if it might just be a little bit shy. We're going to find out in HD, I guess.
You watch it again, Massey. Again, Neal, the big D tackle, bringing him down. Got some help from Lawrence as well.
He's short.
The length of the football.
Neither one of these teams like to go under center, so these 3rd and 1s, 4th and 1s become a little more difficult than maybe the old-time power running offense.
Yeah, absolutely. You almost make it like a 4th and 2 or 4th and 3. But you got a big guy like Massey in the backfield. Try to let him go to work. And of course, Ware can pull it and keep it himself as well. That'd be a beautiful time for a play action.
Stop it.
Go up
Stop. Go under center and push. Don't get crazy on me with 10 minutes to play in this game. Now, having said that, nothing would surprise me.
Yeah, you got Brian Newman in the slot at the top. Keep an eye on him.
4th and less than a yard. And the pass is caught to Newman inside the 30. A low pass and great hands for the wide receiver to go down low, get his hands underneath and make that catch.
Well, good design. I thought they may do that. Look for their go-to receiver. And that play worked.
Boy, David
well
Jones was right there on coverage, too.
Yeah, it was a good coverage play, but hard to stop that slant pattern.
Fresh set of downs for the Panthers. Ware with the pump fake. Looking for the end zone. Diving catch! And a touchdown! Brian Newman again. That is his 11th touchdown this season. What an incredible catch in the end zone. We're a PAT away from a tie game.
And again, watch the top of the screen. Just a stop and go. Pump fake, and then go up top. The corner bit on the fake. Newman makes him pay.
That's a D1 receiver right there, isn't it, Brian Newman?
Oh, the kid has great hands, great instincts. He's a possession receiver.
Vituli for the extra point to even this game at 20. from the hold of Newman.
Yeah.
The kick will be coaxed through. It stopped for refueling halfway through the uprights. But it's good. Tie game, number 20 evens the game at 20. Back after this on the Legacy Sports Network.
I think I have the window seat.
You better double check that, my friend. Don't think we don't know who you are.
Yeah, I'm Aaron Rodgers.
No, that's not it. You're that State Farm discount double check guy. Discount double check. Thanks to the hundreds you saved us, we could upgrade the grill class.
Grill class?
Your tongs are in your seat back.
Save with the discount double check today. Get to a better state. State Farm.
Stadium at 7 o'clock.
Our game brought to you by Community Bank of Texas. Bank where you live. By the Texas Invitational McDonald's. I'm loving it. Great to have McDonald's with us in the sponsorship of that basketball tournament in the Pasadena area.
Well,
great ball game as well.
Yeah, absolutely. After that blocked field goal, St. Pius X takes advantage. 80-yard drive, took a minute 57 off the clock. Little bobble here on the kickoff.
David Jones will carry the football out shy of the 30.
29-yard touchdown strike. Brian Newman from where? Extra point is good, barely. And we have a new ball game, folks, with 9:56 to go. We are tied at 20, 14 unanswered points by the Panthers.
See how the St. Thomas offense responds.
Keating still in at quarterback.
That's right, Keating. He'll hand off to Heck. He's been the big play man tonight. The football looked like maybe a kicked out, but Heck had it, just a short gain. Marked down, no fumble. Gain of a couple of yards for Heck, who's a couple of huge carries in this game.
Yeah, he's been tremendous on the ground. That offensive front has been tremendous as well for the Eagles. The last possession, St. Pius defense rose up, got a stop, and so did the special teams with the blocked field goal.
Heck dropped after a couple of forward yards.
Heck, the ball carrier, knocked down by 42, Avery
Duo
Sims.
of tacklers. Avery Sims was one of those involved with Austin Hancock for the Panthers. It'll be 3rd and 5.
Yeah, St. Thomas looked like they were about to blow this game open early in the third period. They went on a 70-yard drive, 5-yard touchdown run by Keating, made it 20-6. The Panthers have been able to come back with back-to-back scores to tie it up.
Keating intended for Chris Winter. No flag, 4th down. Eagles wanted a PI, and they didn't get it. But that pass was a little bit high, even if there was some contact.
There you'll see Keating. Good protection. Better coverage downfield. Excellent coverage that time by 24, Marcus.
One more look.
It doesn't get much better than that.
No, I know there's a bump there, but that's good coverage. That pass is not catching it.
Believe it or not, this is going to be the first punt of the night for the Eagles.
It'll be Rule. So he wasn't on to throw the pass, but he'll come on to punt, and he hits one a mile in the air. And this one will sail out of bounds on the near sideline. And now we'll see where it's marked out. Last thing the Eagles wanted to do is give the football back to the Panthers the way their offense has been clicking here in the last couple of drives. But it'll be good field position. Well, it's alumni night here at Hotze Field and Granger Stadium. Some of those guys down on the sidelines. Rain has stayed away, and nice night for football here in the Houston area.
Always great when the old-timers come back, get to celebrate some of their past accomplishments. A lot of great football.
See the athletic director there in the middle of that pile.
A lot of great history between these two schools.
Timmy Ware trying to make some history here. Ball game even at 20. And Micah Massey working on the corner. He's got the corner, he's got the first down, chopped out of bounds.
Massey, the ball
Shy of the
carrier,
45.
forced out by David Jones.
David Jones there on the stop, but it's a gain of 12.
He's just going to go off right around the right side. Outruns the defense to the pylon.
Panthers offense starting to click. It's Massey again. Even though he ran into the pile, he moves it forward for a couple of extra yards, finishing
Massey
just shy of
forward
midfield.
To midfield.
Jordan Lawrence there.
Joseph Lowry for St. Thomas. 2nd and 4
6
for
yards
St.
on the
Pius.
carry. Be 2nd down and 4.
Nearing the 8-minute mark to go in this game. St. Pius the 10th, they've never led. Massey trying to reach and extend for that
Massey
first down, maybe a little bit shy.
Wrestled down by Jordan Lawrence.
Lawrence again involved defensively for St. Thomas.
It's going to be another big 3rd down coming up for the St. Thomas
3rd and
defense.
short coming for St. Pius.
We're probably again in 4-down territory, barring a penalty. Again, you have Newman in the slot up top.
Ware's going to keep the football. How about that play fake? And Timmy Ware all the way down to the 30.
Timmy Ware down
almost
to
like
the
a magician. You're
30-yard
watching the
line,
football.
and
You
there
think
is
you
a
know where it's
penalty
at.
flag.
And there's a penalty marker on the play. Low Houdini at that time by Ware. Excellent play fake. Well, let's check the penalty.
Almost wonder if that was on Sam Pierce. He was on top of an eagle. We have to go back and watch that one more time after we get this indication. Holding. See if we can get this replay again, because Pierce is outstanding, one of the better linemen around, but I think we're going to see him land on somebody right there at midfield, just tackle him.
That's a pancake to me. That's just a good block. You can lay on the guy. You pancake him. Wow. And that's a huge penalty. I mean, that's a big run inside the 40. Picks up a first down. Now you're looking at a 3rd and 11. And if you don't convert, you have to turn the football back over to St. Thomas.
A lot going on. You saw Joe Lowry come off to the St. Thomas sideline. You see Blake Ware on the field from the St. Pius the 10th sideline. The officials conferring again.
Well, they're having a lot of problems deciding where to mark the penalties off from. This is a line of scrimmage penalty. Just back it up from the line of scrimmage. 10 yards. Be 3rd and 11. I didn't like the call to begin with. Thought it was a good block.
I thought it was a great play fake from Ware.
Oh, that was tremendous. Yeah, he pulled a rabbit out of the hat on that one.
Run, and it's 3rd and a long 10.
It'll be 3rd and 11. This is the time we locate Brian Newman again. Slot to the right.
We talked about this secondary having to come up big in these types of situations against this passing attack of the Panthers. Let's see what the Eagles dial up defensively, if they come with pressure or if they drop back.
5 wide receivers in the formation. Ware rolling and throwing and completing. Nope, it got dislodged. Newman had it, but it was kicked loose by Christopher Zook.
And 2 more flags in the backfield. It's going to be roughing the passer against St. Thomas. And I think it's going to go against Travis Williamson, 41. Watch Ware roll out. Watch the hit he takes. You couldn't see it there. Maybe if we have a better angle, let's take a look at the wide camera angle, see if we can pick it up. Watch Williamson peel off of his receiver, come up, laid a lick. I think he may have gotten a little high.
Went high. That was where the call was at. I thought watching it in real time, and maybe it wasn't late, but it was high.
So another huge penalty in this ball game. This contest really turning on the penalty flags on this one. St. Thomas, that'll be their 8th penalty for 75 yards in this ball game.
Bigger issue, of course, though, Ken, is it's a first down.
New set of downs.
And the other issue is the way that the Panthers offense has been able to sustain long drives, 10, 11 plays, one even 16 plays. They take a few more minutes off and finish in the end zone. It's going to make things awfully difficult for St. Thomas.
Absolutely.
The Panthers have never led in this game. At one point, they were down 14 points. And Ware will keep at the last possible second, pulling that ball back away from Micah Massey, but he got tripped up. Otherwise, who knows how many yards he might have been able to pick up.
Yeah, good defensive play that time by the Eagle defense. No gain on the play.
So it's 2nd and 10. We're inside 7 minutes to go in this game, tied at 20. St. Pius X and St. Thomas here from Granger Stadium.
You wonder if those big guys, Lorenzo Neal and Kurt Hansen, how much they have left in the tank up front for St. Thomas.
2 targets there. One was Vituli and the other was Newman. Both were open. You saw the pass fall shy of Vituli. Newman wanted the football again. He was wide open.
3rd down and 10 for St.
Watch where the ball goes to the top of your screen, but Newman just quite frankly wide open right there at the 35.
Yeah, both receivers were really open. It was like he really didn't know which one he wanted to throw it to.
St. Thomas defense trying to rise up, make a stop on 3rd and 10. Ware looking over the middle. The pass is deflected and picked. Intercepted.
Pass interception by
it's Mark Davis.
31, Mark Davis.
And another marker down. Mark Davis with the deflection.
Well, that pass was late and high across the middle from Ware. His first mistake of the ball game. You see it float on him high in the old tip drill, and Davis comes up with the INT, and let's see if it'll stand.
Face mask on the Panthers. Smart move here just to go down after the pick.
That was a weak call on the face mask. I mean, they just barely touched him, but nevertheless, the Eagles come up with a big defensive play. First turnover of the ball game. And now, St. Thomas in business. They'll tack on 15 at the end of the play. Mark it at midfield. 6:12 to go. Tie ball game. St. Thomas will take over.
Pack stands here at St. Thomas this evening, and the home folks hoping the Eagles have another score on them to win this game. Meanwhile, it looked like the Panthers had all the momentum with the football on the march. Unable to convert there, and of course the penalty provides great field position for St. Thomas. And Rule going backwards. And dropped by Avery Sims.
For St. Pius, number 42, Avery Sims.
That was the 6th interception of the year for young Timmy Ware. And that one came in a big moment. But now this Panther defense trying to have his back. They come up with the big sack on 1st down, 2nd and 15.
Clock rolling here in our 4th quarter. See what Rule has in the playbook on 2nd and 15. They're going to give to Heck. And Heck competing for a few yards. He'll push the football shy of midfield. Bottom of the pile.
Carroll Franklin.
Was Franklin.
3-yard pickup. 3rd down and 12.
So So now it's still going to be 3rd and long for the Eagles. Officials mismarked the ball. They mark it at midfield. It was only a 3-yard carry to about the 48.
Still a 3rd and 10. Rule trying to make a play through the air. This pass intended for Gentempo. It's 4th down.
Yeah, Gentempo wide open on a coming across the middle. If he's able to make that grab, he has a lot of green field turf in front of him. Oh my, one hops it. So now 4th down, and I think you have to punt this one away and
Rule is the
on
punter.
your defense.
Nobody is deep for the Panthers. That ball's going to hug the sideline instead of going out of bounds inside the 20. It'll kick into the end zone. You could make a ball bounce that direction if you tried. It was angling to the sideline and then just kicked and hugged the sideline in the end zone. Only if it hit the marker on the fairway. Lodge Lumber Company provides quality forestry products that are readily available.
Question on
Hit the sprinkler, you know, and kick that
There
down
you
there.
go. There
By
you
First
go.
Community Credit Union. Think first. By Neighbors Emergency Center. Care that counts, experience that matters. By Allegiance Bank of Texas. It's not what we do, but what we do together that makes a difference. Of course, Ken, you can like us on Facebook.
Get us on Twitter. Legacy Sports Net. We appreciate a follow. And you can watch our games on YouTube. So those are the ways you can connect with us. Social media overload, if you will.
Games available on CSN, Comcast Sportsnet Houston, 7 to 9:30 a.m. on Saturdays. A couple of days later, available on YouTube.
And we have another.
Pretty hard to have a penalty downfield when the Panthers didn't put anybody down there to return, but we'll find out.
Talking over here with Coach Fitzpatrick of St. Thomas. He looks a little agitated. Personal foul.
Personal foul.
Instead of having the football at the 20, it'll be at the 10. Forcing Timmy Ware to go 90 yards for a go-ahead touchdown, or a little bit longer to get in the field goal range, should that be the goal. But with 4:31 to play, this is where the St. Thomas defense needs to make some plays, because we've seen St. Pius X be on the field for much longer than this.
Panthers, their own 10-yard line.
Well, and of course, Timmy Ware with the pick on the last possession. First turnover. So you definitely cannot afford to have a turnover on this end of the field with this little time remaining in the football game. I would expect a nice dose of Michael Massey to try to get them some good field position here.
Massey lines up behind Ware in the pistol. He will carry. Falls forward to the 16.
The ball carrier, Williamson and Jones.
Travis Williamson there. Jones as well, combined on the stop for the Eagles defense. Gain of 6 on the play.
Both teams with all 3 timeouts remaining. Kind of in that 4-minute drive situation, as you will, if you will. You want to eat up some clock and get some points.
And Massey near the marker. Maybe shy again, barely.
Officials will unpile.
Massey knocked
Here's
down
a
by
first
Zuckel.
down. Clock will stop
That's
while
a
they move the
Panther
chains.
first down.
Subel on the tackle, but again, a fresh set of downs for the Panthers.
And again, you go to your bell cow, let him get you away from your own end zone, and then you open it up with Ware and Newman in that passing game.
Inside 4 minutes to go in the game. Ware wants to throw, but he's going to be dropped.
In the backfield,
It's Lorenzo
number
Neal with the stare and the sack.
Lorenzo Neal.
Looks like some confusion in the backfield. Ware
7-yard loss. 2nd and 17.
looked like he was
St.
looking for the
Pius.
play fake. And it looks like Massey was a little late to the party. Didn't pick up the oncoming rush. Results in a quarterback sack all the way back to the 12.
So 2nd and 17 now as we near the 3-minute mark, and in fact will go under when the Panthers snap again. Where the sophomore QB going up top. Jeremy Jones had the ball go through his hands. That would have been a huge play.
Intended for Jeremy Jones.
Perfect throw by Ware.
After a bobble there on the play fake.
I mean, you couldn't hand it off to him better than that, and he just drops it.
Ware dropped that in a bucket around 3 red shirts towards Jones. But now it's 3rd and 17, and if the Panthers can't get this first down, St. Thomas is going to have pretty good field position.
Jones only 4 receptions on the year. He was looking for his 5th, but he came up empty.
From his end zone, setting up the screen for Massey. He's not even going to get back to the original line of scrimmage, and he hops out of bounds with 2:42 to play. And the Eagles defense is held. They'll get the football back.
And they'll have all 3 timeouts remaining.
Number 3.
Great job by the St. Thomas defense.
David Jones back at midfield, waiting to return the punt.
St. Thomas should have
The
excellent
Billy in
field
front
position,
formation.
barring a penalty.
You could almost expect one. Vituli stands inside his 5, and he'll get off a short kick. And this will take a Panther bounce. Ball probably should have been fielded. Instead, it'll be down at about the 44.
Yeah, he'll get 38 yards on the punt, 0 on the return. Eagles will take over 1st and 10 at their 44. 2:31 to go, partner.
Their own 44-yard line.
Almost had this feeling, at least I did, that we might see
Don't say it.
a competitive game. Put
Oh,
it that
okay.
way, a real good game. Both Keating and Rule have played tonight at QB. It's Rule here, and no surprise he gives to Heck. And hammered down after a short gain.
William Heck, number 8.
Terrell Franklin, first man there
Number
defensively for the
15,
Panthers.
Cameron Austin.
See what type of hurry the Eagles are as we near that 2-minute mark, facing a 2nd and 6.
4-yard pickup, 2nd and 6.
Heck again, he'll run for the first down.
William Heck across
To the 45-yard line where he's dropped by Cameron Austin.
First down. Number 15.
Clock will stop,
Cameron
chains will
Austin
move.
again for St. Pius.
16 carries, 179 yards so far tonight for Heck.
Rule to go up top. Intended one for
Rule
Chris
pass
Winter.
Intended for Winter.
You go back and you look at what Jack Brady, the field goal kicker, has done this year for St. Thomas. Very first game of the year, he knocked one through from 40 yards. Looks like that's his long this year. So if you're running at a time to score a touchdown, that might be the number in which you're shooting for. Get that football down to around the 20.
Yeah, but he did have one blocked earlier tonight. Keep that in mind as well.
Clock stopped to 2nd and 10 facing St. Thomas. Two receivers each side of the formation. Rule with a pump. He'll keep, and he'll get nothing.
Rule on the keeper.
Good job
Dragged
that
down
time,
by
Samuel
number
Pierce.
51, Sam Pierce for St. Pius.
Stopping that play for no gain. So now a big third down play here
3rd and 10.
coming up for St. Thomas. It'll be interesting to see when these teams decide to start using their timeouts. Both teams have all 3 remaining. Big play here on 3rd and 10.
Empty backfield for Rule. Intended for Heck out of the backfield, but it's 4th down.
Big play in the secondary
Broken
to
up
dislodge
by
the football. Cameron Austin, the senior. Watch Rule here in the pocket. Under pressure. Good throw. Better defense. So now it's going to be 4th down. And if you're St. Thomas, you have to kick this football away. And St. Pius, the 10th, will put a player back. It'll be Micah Massey. And they're going to try to kick it away from him.
Look at that ball bounce. Look at it stop at the 1.
Wow. Excellent, excellent, excellent kick by Rule. And he'll down it at the 1.
42-yard kick by Rule.
42 on the kick, 0 on the return. Now, if you're the Eagles defensively, now you can start to use those timeouts if you can force the Panthers into some short gains on 1st and 2nd down where you could possibly get the football back.
Well, I'd agree. If you had 2, it really would not factor in this sequence. But having all 3 gives St. Thomas a chance to call a timeout after each play. Should St. Pius the 10th have short gains. How about that? The Ware setting up in the end zone. That ball is going to be a touchdown or a safety. It's a touchdown for St. Thomas.
That's a fumble recovery in the end zone for a St. Thomas touchdown.
Jarius Pollard has the football. Micah Massey had it dislodged.
And was it Neal with the hit?
Number 40.
57 Neal with the big hit in the end zone. The ball pops free, recovered for the touchdown
Neal with the tackle.
by Jarius Pollard. Wow, what a night for Lorenzo Neal.
St. Thomas touchdown.
If it wasn't going to be a touchdown, it was going to be points. It was going to be a safety, but you saw the football kick loose on that replay. And the benefit of that punt being downed at the 1 maybe is enough to give St. Thomas a victory. Still 54 seconds to play.
Changed the entire complexion of the football game. Special teams. 3 phases of the football game, folks. Special teams huge.
And Ken, at times tonight they've been dreadful.
They have. But penalties, block kicks. Unbelievable. Wow. Second turnover of the night. Second turnover of the second half for the Panthers. And watch Neal just manhandle. He gets by 66, the guard. Trey Carter makes the biggest play of the night.
You told Jarius Pollard before the game he'd have the game-winning touchdown with 54 seconds to go. If indeed that is the case, I don't think he would have believed you.
Unbelievable.
This still becomes an important PAT here, though, for
huge.
Brady. Because there's plenty of time with 3 timeouts for the Panthers offense. The kick is true. 7-point lead, under a minute to go. Back for the final minute after this on the Legacy Sports Network.
Brady with
If I get pneumonia,
Break my arm.
need to know if my pain is something more.
I know I can trust Neighbors Emergency Center to save me.
They save my time.
They'll save me from missing the championship.
They'll save me from missing my meeting.
They'll save me from missing the chance to walk her down the aisle someday.
They save me. He saves me.
You save me.
Neighbors Emergency Center saves lives.
Neighbors Emergency Center. Care that counts. Experience that matters.
7-point game. Eagles with the lead, but St. Pius and Timmy Ware, they still have time.
That hit by Neal almost reminds you of that Javavian Clowney play from a year ago against Michigan. Well, he knocked the helmet off of the kid, and that was his signature play of his college career. That may be the signature play of Lorenzo Neal's high school career.
Jack Brady to kick off for St. Thomas.
Fans here at St. Thomas enjoying that late touchdown. Now Brady will kick off.
Massey and Sam Vituli deep.
Massey and Vituli, two dangerous return men. Wade back at their 11. Pretty good kick. That'll be taken at the goal line. It's Vituli. And he's not going to get back to the 20. And that chewed up some additional time. So special teams comes into play again with a nice kickoff from Brady.
Yeah, now the situation for St. Pius, 3 timeouts remaining. They have 83 yards to get to the end zone. And this is a passing attack led by the young quarterback, the sophomore, Timmy Ware. Over 1,400 yards passing on the season. He needs 83 more to try to force overtime.
And 3 late wins. Now, last week he went 75 yards in the last 40 seconds. He'll have to go longer than that and shorter than that tonight, but it can be done. Good pass rush. He's going down again, and it's Pollard, the man who scored the touchdown.
But they got to take a timeout here. They got 3 timeouts. They have to burn one.
So Pollard with the sack. So he's had a touchdown and sack here in the last couple of plays.
Again, Trey Carter having some problems picking up who to block offensively on the offensive front.
Coach Fitz on the field talking with his defense. Well, the Panthers on the other side of the field go over their play call for a 2nd and long, a 2nd and 13. Deep in their own territory. And the bigger issue is the clock now.
Yeah, he doesn't want to see happen to him what he did to St. Pius X at the end of the first half with that big 63-yard touchdown play with the back uncovered out of the backfield.
Newman, middle receiver to the right, had a couple of touchdown receptions in the game. 2nd and 13. And that pass knocked down. Massey was wide open on the near side, but that ball was deflected by Joseph Lowry.
Yeah, Massey was wide open over here on the near side, and he had a blocker in front as well.
3rd and 13 for St. Pius.
They tried to set up the middle screen to Newman, and it was snuffed out.
3rd and 13. St. Thomas trying to remain undefeated and go to 6-0. 3-0 in district play. Ware with time to throw here, and he's going to heave one downfield. Underthrown and picked. Intercepted. And the Eagles are going to win it. David Jones with the pick. Is that his 2nd tonight?
First for him, 2nd interception.
That's right, Mark Davis had the other.
So 3 late turnovers for the Panthers seal their fate here in the 4th period. 2nd pick of the night for the Eagle defense. And if they can protect the football, they should be able to take round 1 of this battle for the district championship. They'll meet again in a couple of weeks.
St. Thomas, not quite the victory formation. This is the shotgun version of the victory formation.
It's the dangerous version.
That's right.
And a low snap at that.
They can't even go under center in the victory formation, but the St. Thomas Eagles will earn a hard-fought win over a St. Pius Panthers team that at one time trailed 14 points, came back to tie looked like they were going to have an opportunity maybe to score the go-ahead points. Not meant to be. It was a punt down at the 1-yard line that led to a fumble forced by Lorenzo Neal against Micah Massey and a touchdown from Jarius Pollard. And that's our final, 27-20. St. Thomas with the victory.
Yeah, huge play by Lorenzo Neal. He would definitely be our player of the game tonight, as he was tremendous the entire evening.
We're going to see it one more time. The play under a minute to go, the resulted in the game-winning touchdown.
And then Pollard, of course, with the recovery, and then Pollard himself had the big sack at the end of the ball game that helped seal the fate before the final INT.
What a bowl game tonight. Very competitive and of course, well played. Tied at 20 for the most part of the fourth quarter when penalties started to kick in, and we were wondering what was going to be the signature play, the defining play to win this game. I think we both lost, guessing that fumble in the end zone and the recovery for St. Thomas in the 27-20 win.
Yeah, and absolutely. And then, of course, you know, special teams were bad on both teams for the most part tonight, but that big punt by Rule, he got the bounce, had it die at the 1-yard line. That backed up the Panthers against their own end zone, and that was the difference in the ball game.
Newman had a couple of touchdown receptions for the Panthers. Meanwhile, Heck went 16 carries, $179 through the ground. So both had some big playmakers, and yet it was the defense that won the game.
Yeah, so St. Thomas, they stay undefeated in district play, 3-0. St. Pius the 10th, they fall to 2-1. Rematch in a couple of weeks.
Exciting game tonight.
Yeah, it was fun.
So for Ken Moore and our entire Legacy Sports Network crew, I'm Brett Dolan saying good night from Granger Stadium. Again, our final score, it was St. Thomas 27, St. Pius the 10th 20. Good night, everyone.